the show, everybody. Good morning. It is Wednesday. It's almost Holy Thursday, but it's our final supper. If you guys have been following the Karen Reed case, this is our pre-trial Last Supper. We have a beautiful Bella original here. We're going to show you guys our new poster for the team. Just want to let everybody know why the trial is not starting until Tuesday, because it's motherfucking Easter. Okay? So happy Easter, everybody. We got this killer pre-trial that's about to take place. But we got the Last Supper up in here. And you send that on over?
I did.
Okay.
On my phone,
I'm gonna post it up here. So let's go ahead and do this. So again, good morning, everybody.
I sent 2 versions.
It's the Last Supper. It's the Last Dawn.
Wait for the last version to come through.
Okay. What version? Yeah, I like that version right there. Let's all put our hands out, say a couple prayers. Who's Judas in this motherfucker? You traitor. Who's the traitor amongst the final supper goers? Gotta put up my... You guys remember pop-up videos? Want to give a special shout out. It is our boy Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s birthday. I was hoping he would call me, put him on the air. He will come live with me though here soon. What's going on? There it is. Let me show you guys what we got. Tell me if you guys like it. Again, it's the Last Supper. You guys know what the Last Supper is? It's okay. It's okay if you don't. Oh, perfect. Good morning. Get that coffee going. Let's get some coffee going in here. We got Ashley Jennings, PCA. I can't get away from this broad. She just comes everywhere I go. I wonder how her and her husband are doing. I truly always wonder how they're doing. If they're making any more babies and shit. Can you imagine slapping that around? Woo! Starting off feisty this morning. Let's take a look, shall we? There we go. There it is. All right, holler around, guys. She's done. She's finished. This is the Last Supper, bitches. Look at this. Not every day can you see this. Look at these peeps. Look at this. Last Supper. Come around. Gather around, baby. Now, I know that it's not the Last Supper yet, but it kind of is. Since we're not going to be in court tomorrow, we're going to have our Last Supper here today with all of you guys. This is a final pretrial motion. This is going to go viral. It should go viral. Alcohol. There we go. Yeah, give me that. You want some of this brown sugar? I was listening to Foxy Brown this morning. Between her and Little Kim, they always bring it to me now. All right, hold on. I'm going to make it in a better picture than I want. Okay. Again, we're just doing some house cleaning here with, where would it be? Who can it be now? Give that to me. Yes, open that. Thank you. There she is. There she goes. Okay. What do you guys think? Would you purchase it? Okay, pre-trial. First of all, Bevs on Bevs. It is Bevs Bingo Lingo. And remember, that kicks off next Tuesday. We're going to do a little sample here just to make sure our stuff's all working the way that I want it to. The way that you guys get those little bingo cards is it's all digitally downloaded. Okay. So what that means is you can just press a button, which we're going to put in chat here. It's the link. Okay. And when you download your card, it's just like literally press it. It'll say, what does it give you? All the props to say download card or select card or whatever.
Well, we can try it, but it won't be the new lingo right now. But we can try it for.
Yeah, we're gonna try it here today.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. So those of you guys that have played before, the only thing I'm switching up because I want a winner. Okay. Every hour on the hour. All right. This is the only place that you can win cash at. Play bingo and watch a hearing, aka a trial. And that's right here. Okay. I just want everybody to know that the JC, the music man, said that your stream last night literally caused me to have a wet dream. Who was it? Was it on me and Maury having babies? Or was it on like me and Ashley Jennings? Because the only person's hotel room I'll be staying in Boise will be Ann Taylor's when she coughs up that she gets like the king rooms and shit. Lana, you can have that little sofa bed over there that pulls out. Okay, thanks, Miss Taylor. I always try to keep it fun. R. Kelly. I mean, Kelly R. I do. Sometimes you got to keep it soft. I did have a dream about the Idaho 4 last night. I'm not going to lie. It was really weird. It was like I was in the house, waking up, going through the house, and like literally trying to figure out what happened. Then I was on some bridge over some water, and I was really scared. It was like, yeah, but the bridge was like was all wooden, and it protected you though. And then like planks were just missing, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get over to the other side. I got to go check out the scene again before the cops get there. I got to go take some pictures because I know they're going to mess shit up. Wild dreams last night. Yeah, I had really weird dreams. I had dreams that Jack D was like, wouldn't leave the room because he was sobbing. It was like sad, weird, all of it combined. I just needed to wake up. I was like, all right, I'm tapping out, God. Let's go. It's time. I got to get up. So yeah, I looked at my clock. I was like, what time is it? It was like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, man, I'm going back to bed. It's too early. So back to how we play. Normally in bingo, you have to get a bingo, which is diagonal, straight across. Well, I just love how Ann Taylor plays tic-tac-toe in bingo. She likes to win two ways. So what we're going to do here is make it so that there's a winner every hour. And because you never know when you could get like, oh man, when you're always playing bingo and you have like, you get all these hits and you're just like, why can't any of these be in a row? So we're going to be playing a little bit differently at times where it's going to be based on the number of words that you can get on your scorecard. And it's going to be like the first one to like 7 hits, first one to possibly 5 sometimes. But this way, we want to be passing out winners. We want people to be engaged with a new game. And then, yeah. Possibly if I do a coverall for the whole day at different time points, I'll be like, okay, because we have the way to do it on our end is once you give us your scorecard number, your bingo card, we type it in back here, and then we know what hits you have and what hits you don't have. It's so sick what we're able to do with this bingo card. So like you can't try to lie to me. It's like, it's amazing. Like you say, oh, I have, and I got all these letters. No, give me your scorecard. What's your number on there? We pump it in, and it tells me what hits you have. So it's just whoop. So I think I'm going to create this little Lana like random bell. Oh, we're paying out a bingo winner, and I'm just going to say randomly the person at that point with the most hits on their card, if they think that they have more than, 7 hits, 8 hits, 9 hits, whatever number I throw out there, you'll throw your card number in chat. I'll put it in. Boop, handled. We'll be tossing out winners. Now, the way that you get paid for Babs Bingo Lingo, featuring Paul, what's it? Keefy P. Oh, Keefy, you guys get it? You have to have Cash App. Does everybody know what Cash App is? Cash App is how you receive your high five. So why it was called Bevs on Bev is because you'd win $5 and it's supposed to go get you a drink on none other than Beverly Clonone. She was buying you a drink. Oh, you sent it to me again? Thanks there, Merks. Appreciate it. Yes. I wanted the, yeah, that's what I want. All right. So are there any questions about bingo? So simple. You just, we're going to download this card. We're going to show you how this works. This is what the score, you roll with the same, delete that. You can roll with the same card throughout the whole trial. You can go and click on a different one if you're like, I want a different one that day. It's free to play. Did I tell you guys that? It's absolutely free to play. No way, Lana, it is. Yes, it is. We want people here that want to learn about the trial, learn about the law. But we also want fun people here that are just here to play bingo. You know how many bingo lovers are out there? Check out this new scorecard. I'm going to show you guys through Hector.
Murky, thank you.
Murky, you're the best, Murky.
I'd
be lost without Murky. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it.
You got that shit, girl. Okay, that's right.
Thank you. She's in chat.
Murky's always in chat. She's my stalker, but I get mad when she doesn't stalk me. So we'll learn about it. Look at this, you guys. At first, I thought it was Lori Daybell. I personally think Lori Daybell is doing a fabulous job.
Oh my God, no.
Repping herself. Bev, bingo, lingo. Here are the words. We are unveiling the words. These are the bingo. So this is how this works. The people that are the mods, when we're actually putting up the, I'm going to back this all up. Hold on a second. I was working on some sick ass objections. I'm putting in like a 300-page document into the courts here. Can you take that for a second? I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, is it okay? If it's is PayPal working? We can also do PayPal. Okay, but the way that PayPal works, I have to wait until like probably like the end of the day because the Cash Apps I can do quick. PayPal I just have to be like focused to send it, so you can do that as well. My mom won a ham playing bingo last night. Hell yeah, feeding that fam for Easter, baby. Is the air conditioning on here? No. So when like someone like Mary P is always on it too. Let's say that because we're keeping track of what words were said. So what the mods do is they're not writing out the lingo, they're using the numbers. So like they would put like, let's say it was like this. Like they'll say like, they'll go like that and say, these are the words that have been called so far in this bingo. Okay. But here we go. Time. So anytime, this is all what Bev has to say. I'll be putting these on the community page, but this is just so you know. But I'll allow it or allow when that is said. Obviously, if you have that word in your Bev's bingo, which I'm going to show you next, like that actual digital scorecard, then you would, you're able to just touch it and it puts a nice little X over it for you. So it's all digital. This is all digital. But time, I'll allow it. Let them have it. No voidar. 6 is thank you. 7, publish. Yes. I am the final say with like the whole like sigh. I mean, we're probably going to get that like, she does that all the time, but she leans into that mic and gives you that sigh. I'll be letting you guys know.
Why don't you tell them?
Mr. Jackson. Huh?
We we usually use like the siren emoji for hearing a siren.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about that.
Those are not words. Those are.
Now, when we hear a siren, that's different. Okay. And we use the siren picture emoji on the card. Also, we use the light. Like, we'll actually show you like a light. What we do, a light bulb.
Yeah, we do the emoji of a light bulb.
That means when she shuts off or on the lights. And don't worry, we tell you when it's happening. You just have to like, you're just going back and forth looking at your card, and you can actually do two with, if you, I don't know what kind of.
Yeah, I want to test it. So
I don't know what kind of YouTubes you guys are rolling with, but you should be able to if you have, what is it, premium. I can do multiple things.
Okay, this is just a test.
What about glass roll? That didn't make the cut this time, even though I like it. Maybe it'll make it here in a little bit. Is that the test?
This is the test. This is for Bevs on Bev. This isn't Bingo Lingo. I just want to see if it generates a new card for everybody. So if everyone can just go ahead and hit that.
So right here, we're doing the test. If you go ahead and hit that, is that able to be hit?
Yes, it's
Okay.
able to be hit.
Go ahead and hit that. We're testing this link here. These are the house cleaning. So we got the test for Bev's link. Check. And what it tells us on our end how many cards are being cycled, right?
It does.
That's right. Know how many YouTube? Know what type of YouTube you're on with. Like if you have premium, you can do a lot more. You can like watch stuff in the back. Yes. Is it working there?
It's gonna work. I just want to know if everyone puts in like what their what the word is in the upper left corner for them. So we can make sure that everyone has a different.
Mary P just sent me a copy of hers. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is what it's going to look
Let me see
like.
Mary P's and I'll tell you if it. Okay.
You guys see that Bev in the middle? Okay. Now, we want to show you something. There's a card number that had generated for you. So, where's their card number? Is it in the bottom? So Mary P, well, because I think she's zoomed in. Mary P, what number do you have? I just want you guys to be able to know. What is up, Richard? Welcome. Oh, 10:04. We got to get inside the Bev. Thank you.
Is everyone's different than this? I'll go ahead and chat.
We just want to make sure that it's producing the different cards it should be. Oh, yeah. Yours is, Carson says hers is number 93. Is that the numbers that they are?
Well, I mean, they could be. It's just everyone.
They used to be like 00. Oh, yeah. Here they are. E45. Yeah, there we go. Those are where your numbers are. E451A1. Yep. And then right like that. See, they're all different like that. Yep. 96827B. Yep.
Beautiful.
Perfect. That's the type of number that you're looking for. I knew it was wild one. So Carson, there's no way that you have 95. But I love you. Yuri's math teacher. So anyways, here it is. Bev, bingo, lingo. These are the words for trial 2.0. We'll be posting this. You guys can print yours off. All right, we ain't fucking around. I told you I wanted Bev and goddamn pigtails. Those of you guys that are playing the Pick'em challenge, anybody that picked the over on how long it would take the jury to be seated, you're 1 for 1. You're 1 for 1. I'll screenshot it, sugar tits. Thanks. You get bonus points when you call me sugar tits. Mm-hmm. The new bingo words will be up. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go. Lana, are you undercover collecting all of our info and thoughts? I am trying. You're giving me way too much credit on that one. I'm barely able to get this fucking thing to to print us out some cards. I'm trying to get your Amazon click history, baby girl. Just click on my link. Let me see what I can do. All right, now. Next up, let's go to trial. Let's see what's happening here. We are at the final supper. If you don't like it, you don't have to eat at my table. All right, Karen Reed. I will be doing things a little bit differently in trial 2.0. I will be pausing when I want to pause, just to let people know like who's taking the stand and when people are following along, if it's direct or cross or whatever. And I fix all my mic levels so that it'll be even keel with the video. So nobody will get blown. Everybody can be following along. Yeah. Here she is. We got the fan back in play. I want to talk to you guys about what's different this year than last year with the trial. You had to enter into a pool in order to get a seat to be media. And people that thought that they would get into the courtroom for the first week are not. So, for example, like Ted Daniels is not. No, thank you. Will not become a member. Turtle Boy is not in there the first week. You have to put your name. I think it's on the Tuesdays of the week for the next week. And so the people that got in, I think there's some people are pissed off about it, to be honest. Oh, how do you get a card?
That bit.ly link.
Let me go. I'll pin it.
You want me to put it in again?
Yeah,
Let
put it in
me
again.
Put it in again and then here.
But yeah, so people are not too happy. I wouldn't be happy either if I covered this trial. This is my home. This is my home area. But
hit that link, guys.
Did Gretchen's allowed to be there? I don't know if she's got in or not. I pinned it. All right. So at least it's, yeah, that's why I don't care. At least it's televised. I'd feel differently. Well, last night was funny because we're driving back from dinner. And Bella says, because we were talking about at, the Richard Allen case trial. Can you imagine if we had to listen through the eyes of mainstream media with the Richard Allen case? Like, we wouldn't know shit about it, all right? Like, they do such a shitty job. And so can you just imagine that? If we had to listen to mainstream media pump out a narrative in the Karen Reed case. We are playing bingo today, and this is our trial run to make sure that all the tickets are working properly.
Yeah, and we're going to change the words. This is last year's bingo, so we're changing the words, but this is a good way for everyone to get acquainted with what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, yep. So anyways, Bella did a great analogy, and she's like, can you imagine if mainstream media was like, working in assisted living homes, wiping people's asses, because they would never have their asses clean. Because mainstream media, if they were to be nurses, they would just skim all around your ass, and you would just have nothing but shit in your underwear every other day. And I spit out my drink because she's absolutely fucking right. It's the best analogy ever. Like, who would you rather have wash your ass? Me or mainstream media person? Who do you think is going to be more thorough up in your ass? And just literally, that was our conversation on the drive home. And I said, wow, take that one to the bank right there. That's pretty special. That's how shitty they do, though, I would rather have Turtle Boy wipe my ass than anybody in mainstream media, right?
Well, we saw firsthand
because we did.
how bad, like
it's so bad that like that trial. The defense is as much as I think they messed up at times, they still won that trial. No doubt about it. But you wouldn't, listening to mainstream media, you wouldn't know what the hell happened.
No.
That's why I kept on saying, I was like, just wait till you guys see Richard Allen's interviews with the police. You guys are going to lose it. Like, there's no way, like, I'd be able to find that guy guilty. No way. So, is that a good way to do it there, Carson? Make sure you email your card to yourself so you can refer back to it. Yeah, there you go. See, look at all these little tidbits. Exactly, Nikki. I would totally wash your ass better, right? Can we have more than one card? Do you mean while you play? Yeah, if you want to have more than one card while you play. I mean, what do you mean? Did we do it last year that you could only have one card?
No, I think because you have no control over it. No, because
I think what we were doing with that one is we were saying that if you wanted to, like, oh, I don't like this card, I want a different card. I think it's difficult to play with multiple cards.
Yes.
I think you'd be missing. So again, this is just our sample for today because we're finishing up the final touches. This is just to make sure that it's working, its functionality, because we have changed. Like I said, this is the new Bev Bingo Lingo. These are the words we're going with. So some of the words from last year have been taken out and made more Bevelicious. We want to go more with like Bev's lingo. Like, what does that hoe say? You know? So now, let's see. I got something else over here. Oh yeah, my pick'ems. Andrea's pick'ems. So me and Andrea are going toe to toe. We got Andrea Burkhart versus Truth and Transparency. And number of days to pick a jury. We both said over. So right now we're both 1v1. I mean, we're both 1-0. Yeah. The next thing that we'll be doing is Tuesday will be the betting on the opening and closings. So we have the total number of objections during opening statements, total number of objections and closing arguments, total number of times Brennan says defendant in opening, and total number of times defense says proctor in opening.
You gotta like have that out. Did anyone else do that? Because I forgot that was before we did our March Madness thing.
Yeah, it was so great.
So that is a really good thing.
Also, what we're going to be talking about here today is, you guys, this trial, in my opinion. Oh, do we have? I think I have it right here. I think it's upstairs, actually. My opening statements. Do you have yours?
I do. We're gonna go toe to toe.
Yeah, we're gonna go toe to toe with our openings. We both played Brennan with our openings.
I don't know where you write it.
It's on my legal pad that's yellow. Bedtime, yellow legal pad. Daytime, white legal pad. Right? Heavy metal, right? Is that right? Hanky panky time, yes. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. This is my beginning. because I've been working on it. You guys want to hear it? Okay.
You guys don't hear it.
You guys want to hear it? Like you guys have a fucking say. Good morning, jurors. As you all know, my name is Hank Brennan, Special Prosecutor for the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. As the evidence will show, it will show you that John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer, is a victim of a pedestrian automobile collision. You can't say accident there. Collision, keyword. The only question is, did the defendant, Karen Reed, intend to collide her SUV into John O'Keefe? Or was it the result of Miss Reed's alcohol-induced rage state of mind that accidentally reversed her SUV into John O'Keefe when completing a 3-point turn after dropping off John O'Keefe at a friend's house after a night at the bars? The evidence will prove beyond any reasonable doubt that Karen Reed was highly intoxicated on the night of John O'Keefe's murder. Video surveillance, bartender testimony from 2 bars, and bar receipts will show Karen Reed, the defendant, had 9 vodka drinks. This evidence will show you that the victim, John O'Keefe, and the defendant, Karen Reed, had been dating for 2 years to that point. But that their relationship, though, was at a crossroads. The evidence will show you that the defendant, Karen Reed, was extremely angry at the victim right after she allegedly dropped him off at a friend's house at 12:45. Karen Reed then called John O'Keefe's cell phone, leaving hateful message after hateful message beginning just before 1 a.m. and continuing throughout the early morning hours. None of Karen Reed's calls would be answered by John O'Keefe. The evidence will show you that the defendant, Karen Reed, would use John's adopted child's cell phone at 4:53 a.m. to call friend Jen McCabe, again, a friend that the couple had met out with that night, to tell her that John never came home and that she remembers last seeing him at the Waterfall bar before she left him there to then go home. You will hear from Jennifer McCabe because she will testify here. And Jennifer McCabe will testify to correcting Karen Reed, the defendant, at 4:53 in the morning, to tell her that she actually came over to Jen's sister's at 34 Fairview after the bar, and that she provided directions to both of them around 12:15. Jen McCabe is going to tell you that she remembered seeing Karen Reed, the defendant's SUV, arrive. But she will tell you that she never saw John or Karen come into the house, and in fact saw the SUV leave about 10 to 15 minutes later. The phone data from Karen Reed's phone, John O'Keefe's phone, it'll prove that John and Karen and their SUV went to 34 Fairview that night, substantiating Jen's testimony. That night, when they were all out, there was another local Boston police officer at the bars with them that night. 34 Fairview is the address of his home, where he invited Jen McCabe and her friends. You will hear from all the partygoers at the after party that were in the area as well, and all of them will testify to not seeing John or Karen walk into the house. The evidence will show you that Karen got in her SUV to begin driving around and looking for John, but was unsuccessful. And so therefore she drove over to Jen McCabe's house, where Jen and another friend, Carrie Roberts, who Karen had called that morning, they go then back over to John's, look around again, and then all leave together, where then they go to 34 Fairview, and you will hear from Jen McCabe saying that it was horrible weather conditions, and that it was Karen immediately seeing John in the snow when nobody else could. That's where we're at right now. Bingo. Where is Bev? What the fuck, Bev?
Did you end yours already?
Well, no, because I said that's all I have right now.
I'm gonna read mine, and when she's on, remember I told you I kicked your butt. And it
She thinks that Hank's gonna go all about Karen Reed's statements.
Not all about, but he's gonna put it in. And I wrote it before he came out and said that's what he's gonna do.
She did.
So all the things I did in the opening is what he said he's gonna do. So
that's what we're gonna hear about today, guys. We're gonna hear about these. Yes. I believe that these out of court statements, obviously they're hearsay. Do they meet the exception rule? And I say that they don't meet the exception rule. How can anybody other than Karen Reed testify to what she said and what it meant? So I'm curious to see how these get in. I want to see. I'm interested in the law end of it. These were edited. These were all edited, cut, copy, pasted, edited to make a program in some capacity. These were not live. This is extremely edited material. And I just think that it is, it's not a true and authentic copy of something. I don't think it meets the hearsay exception rules. When I say we, Belle and I literally have probably put in, I would say the past 3 days, at least 30 hours, 10 hours a day, no doubt about it, into Ohio, Idaho, and Massachusetts hearsay and case law around it. Because obviously I'm covering the Karen Reed case. Obviously I'm covering the Idaho case. Both of those two cases are heavy right now with hearsay. And then I'm doing something in the back in Ohio with hearsay. So I was like, holy shit, I'm just getting bombarded with this hearsay. And, I think that it does not meet it's all hearsay. It has to meet an exception. So this being edited and, hey, okay, cut, let's go again, take it from the top. Okay. Those aren't present sense impressions. Those aren't excited utterances. Okay. I just don't see how this going to be. What do I have to hit pin?
Pin?
You say pin something? Oh, Ella has to put it up, but I think she's going to put in the thumbnail to this live. Oh, the Last Supper picture?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But Sherry D, or you might have seen it, but yeah.
What's up, Sherry D? Did you get to see that?
You can show it if you want. Hearsay. If I hearsay another hearsay, I'm gonna hear.
Yeah, if I hearsay your ass say. Speaking of which, so we're also looking into the authentication of records. Okay, it's just the law on it. Like, what's case precedent? What's going on here? How is out of court statements being? You cannot use them for truth of the matter asserted. Like, what the fuck? You cannot do this shit. So I want to know how this motherfucker, Brennan, thinks he's going to get this shit in. Like, I don't know. To talk about and to say that it's, for an example, I'll give you guys a good example. You keep a diary. You keep a diary. You keep a digital diary. I know, so funny to say those words together. And you keep this diary over a year, 2 years, 3 years. You go to court and you want to admit your diary into evidence. How? For what purpose? For what purpose? That diary is absolutely hearsay. Absolutely hearsay. Especially if you say things like, let's say that you're documenting, you want to get a divorce, and you're documenting events that take place and stuff that was said and done, okay, when something was going on. Well, when did you type this up in your digital diary that couldn't have been right then and there? You just had your laptop out while you're, I don't know, having some argument. Hold on. Let me hold on. Get back to arguing. Like, well, no, at the end of the day, I would just type in my diary about everything that happened that day. Okay, so it's not, so it's, you're trying to use it for truth of the matter asserted. You're trying to use it for what? That is not a present. You have to write that contemporaneously. Otherwise, that's not, you cannot just be going. And then, ready? Then, since it's a digital diary, you have to authenticate it. You have to authenticate that these entries were made, the time and the dates that you say. So you have to have it forensically. Like, you're going to have to either put your laptop through and give it over to somebody in forensics, right? Because how are we going to authenticate this? How do we know that you didn't go in it and modify different dates to put in shit? Okay, you ready for this? You guys know that I represent myself pro se in matters. And so here I am, pro se litigant. And here is a Columbus licensed attorney and another Columbus licensed attorney. And somebody tried to admit a digital diary. And I stand up and I say, objection. I object to this exhibit being admitted. And I am objecting on the grounds of hearsay and that there's no metadata supporting any of this, like timestamps, dates, where's the metadata? This is also, hearsay. So I have two objections here, basically, because it's not authenticated. And that's off of, 803. And then I got 803. I got 901. And then I want to include personal knowledge 602 on there. Fuck it. All three. Because in this digital diary I was looking at, I'm like, this doesn't even involve the person that's writing in this digital diary. Like, what? Like somebody else's name? I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy. So I basically attach 3 objections, right? And I'm a nobody, pro se. Like, how the fuck do I know any of this shit, right? I don't know shit. I kid you not. This is what a licensed attorney said on the record. Can I have that? Oh, right there.
This is exactly how it is, right?
Yeah, this is the right one.
Okay, I'm doing it now. By the time we're done, everyone gets, they might want to see it. Look at how pretty.
Oh, that looks good. Oh, I need the other paper. It's on that I wrote. Those other two stacks I said, can you? I want to read this verbatim because it's good. It's so good. The answer to this, I just couldn't even fucking believe what I was like listening to. All right. Okay. Your Honor, I object to Plaintiff Exhibit 7, this diary. I'm objecting to hearsay. I'm objecting to the fact that there is no metadata supporting any of the dates, timestamps, anything that is being claimed. And, everything to do with this is all hearsay. Exhibit 7 is all hearsay. Now, from a licensed attorney. I'm sorry. The diary, with regard to the diary, it was kept on a regular basis, Your Honor. It was a true and authentic copy of the events which took place on those dates. It is not hearsay. It is, I believe, totally admissible. What the fuck? Have you? You just told on yourself when you said it's a true and authentic copy of the events which took place on those dates. So you're trying to use it for truth of the matter asserted, number one. But who, as a licensed attorney, says it's not hearsay? It is, I believe, totally admissible. And then ready for this? I about fell out of my fucking chair. The magistrate says, overruled. I will admit the exhibit. Okay. On what grounds? This broad doesn't even give a ground that why it would beat the hearsay exception rule. It's just totally admissible to this attorney. And then here's a magistrate that just says, I'll allow it. It's in. Overruled. I will admit the exhibit. I said, well, let's see if you still have a job one day. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what our court system, our court system is in shambles right now.
Hearsay.
It's complete hearsay. You also can't say what somebody else is saying or doing. What was another example of this? Okay. Let's say in this shithole diary says, shithole, this inadmissible shithole, that there was a meeting and that the defendant didn't attend it. Like, wait, what? You can't just write in a diary that someone didn't attend a meeting and then it's fucking facts. Okay. So, well, all right. I'll go and get some proof that didn't happen, right? Get proof that it didn't happen. Right there, don't you think that impeaches the whole entire digital shithole? Yes. And right then and there, the reliability of it is now shot to shit when, oh, wait, here, they had a camera there. And here's Lana walking on through the motherfucking place for a meeting. Oh my God, no way. Yeah, woo. Nope. They just must have got their days mixed up about when this meeting took place. This person's just not good with dates and timestamps. What? Wait a second, you gotta be shitting me. I've never heard such a thing. I'm like, this is absurd. So I impeach the fucking shit that's inadmissible. And then you hear something come back to say, nope, they're just not good with dates and timestamps. I'm like, they're reading straight from this diary that they did supposedly accordingly to this idiot attorney right when it happened, but they don't know dates and timestamps. What the fuck? They don't need to know dates and timestamps. They're reading straight from when they supposedly did something. And it's on that day. And then I show that it's absolute fucking bullshit lie. But then the answer back to that, now that's what you call prejudice, bias, and discretion, abuse of power and discretion. All of the above. So I love when people fuck with my due process. Any mods live near Dedham?
I want to do my opening for Hanky.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's hear Bella's opening via if she was Hank. Come closer.
I will. And this was written before he came out and said what he was going to do. And it's bang on. Okay. Too bad I can't be on, but I'm not wearing a bra.
Bras.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You're here today to deliver justice in a case that strikes at the heart of trust and safety, a case where a life was taken with callous disregard. The Commonwealth will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Reed is responsible for the death of Officer John O'Keefe, a dedicated Boston police officer, a loving partner, a loving son, brother, and uncle, and a cherished member of this very community. On the night of January 29th, 2022, Karen Reed made a series of choices fueled by anger and recklessness. After a night of heavy drinking and a heated argument, she drove her vehicle with intent and struck John O'Keefe, leaving him to die in the freezing snow. The evidence is clear, and tire marks matching her SUV, damage to her vehicle's rear, is consistent with the impact, and the data from her car's black box confirm the speed and direction of that deadly maneuver. This is the one that I always mess up, that I can't read my own.
Your own writing?
Yeah, my own writing here.
You want me to see it?
Yeah, but I got it last time, remember?
Let me see.
Okay, and reversing at a high speed up to 24 miles per hour and striking John O'Keefe with devastating force and leaving him to die alone in a freezing snowstorm. Not to mention her own statements in the aftermath that betray her guilty knowledge. You will hear from witnesses like forensic experts who will confirm the physical evidence, and from first responders who found John's body in the cold, alone. Most importantly, you'll hear from Karen Reed herself and her ever-changing story of what happened that night. Miss Reed is a woman who flaunts her crime in all of our faces, daring us to say something. She's defiant. You'll see it in the way she behaves during this trial. She's not used to being told she's wrong. And just like that fateful night, John was left on the hard, cold end of Karen's wrath. Because you see, this was no accident. It was a deliberate act, and Karen Reed's attempts to deflect the blame only deepened her culpability. In an interview, Karen Reed herself said, "I have nothing to hide." Yet her actions that night tell a different story, a story of guilt that she cannot escape. The Commonwealth asks you to follow the evidence, hold the defendant accountable, and deliver a verdict that honors the truth and John O'Keefe's memory. Here and now, you are John's voice, and Karen Reed will not be able to gaslight and deflect any longer. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I don't believe any of this.
And we don't believe any of this shit, okay? But we will play it from both sides, okay? And so I would have, now let me tell you, if I was Alan Jackson, though, I would have stood up and objected the moment that you're going to bring in out-of-court statements to the jury in opening. That's improper, Your Honor. Objection, that is improper, bringing up statements, out-of-court statements to the jury. That's why I think that we're waiting so long. But so Brennan is going to try to bring in these. So this brings us all back to, high five, Bella. This brings us all the way back to motherfucking hearsay. How far is hearsay going to go? Hearsay has no place in a courtroom for a reason. Okay. Karen Reed has the right to remain silent. And she has the right to our Fifth Amendment. Okay. You are teetering fucking in a whoo-wee to the point that if Brennan gets out of control on his opening, it could actually be grounds for a fucking mistrial right off the rip. And so if I'm Karen Reed's team, right, and you think that they're going to be coming out with these, we're seeing the motions come in, guys. Hank Brennan he has already just put in the motion today, and he has said flat out that he wants to use out-of-court statements in his opening argument. That just came out today. I can print it off here. He motioned to the courts, and I was like, this son of a bitch. I was like, it's one thing, this is, The Commonwealth notifies the court it intends to introduce recorded statements of the defendant in its opening statement and will produce a copy of the recorded statements to the court in advance of opening statements for a ruling on admissibility. Thank you. And that's what we're talking about right now. I'm telling you, and I think also they're determining, the jury has been picked, seated, right? How much are we going to let what were the rules here with the jurors? They're seated. Hey, you guys cannot watch any of the stuff. We have a proceeding on Thursday or on Wednesday. But further, if allowed, the recording should be marked for identification so a complete record is made of items shown to jurors in the courtroom during trial. Additionally, the Commonwealth moves for an order that the defense identify in advance any visual aids, potential exhibits, or potential chalks the defendant intends to use during opening statements. I believe that I hope that Karen Reed's attorneys this time around, they need to object if Bev tries to put a time limit on anything. Okay, I don't think that's going to be happening this time, but they need to do that. But everything that he's trying to admit here for opening statements, it's fucking inadmissible. I'm sorry, but nothing meets the hearsay exception rule. I've spent 30 hours on this shit. There is no way that fucking shit is admissible. And if she lets it in, I think it'd be over. Why? And now this should tell you how weak, okay, how weak the Commonwealth's case is if you need to use hearsay. Right? Right, Lana. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the weakness. Let's talk about the strengths. Let's talk about the weakness. We'll talk about the hardness.
Talk about the weakness, the softness.
I think Karen Reed in the column, she has the win going for her. You're not going to hear from anybody especially what Scorty Bella that did the autopsy. They couldn't even label this. Was this an accidental death? It's undetermined. Undetermined. If you were a juror, okay, Hank Brennan tried to keep this out. Undetermined. Undetermined. How come it didn't come out in the first trial, John's toxicology? They did not do toxicology on John. That didn't come out in trial 1. Don't you think that'd be important? But I think that's important. But his death, undetermined. Was it, this is when they say suicide, accident, homicide, undetermined. So then how, if these experts can't determine if John's death, what it was, how can jurors determine it? Don't you think that should be in your opening statement? Fuck yeah, it should be if you're Alan Jackson, right? Think about that. Would you not put that in your opening statement if you're Alan Jackson?
100%.
150%. You would put that in the opening? It was undetermined? Yes. I would definitely put that in the opening statement. That experts in their field are unable to determine how John O'Keefe, chat. This word list is just for today's test game. Yay.
This one's about to be done.
What you want to do in an opening statement is so if I was Alan Jackson, you want to make sure that everything that you tell those jurors in opening, that you then go back, or then when it's time for the closing argument, that you then go back to your opening statement and said, these are all the things that we told you in opening. And then show how you proved them throughout the trial and check it all off. And with the main points being that in opening, you guys are going to hear that there was a party that had 13 people at least at 34 Fairview. That's where John O'Keefe was found, on the lawn. A lawn that is no bigger than this courtroom. Not a single person saw him from 12:30 to 6 a.m. People that were coming, people that were going. You're going to hear all of these people say that there was nobody on the lawn. That's because there wasn't anybody on the lawn. And we're asking you to believe their testimony. And guess who those witnesses come from? Those witnesses come from the Commonwealth. It's their own witnesses that are going to take the stand, and they're going to tell you that they didn't see Karen Reed strike John, her vehicle strike John. They're going to tell you that his body wasn't on the lawn. Very, very important. The Commonwealth has no idea where their victim was from 12:30 to 6 a.m. Oh, here we go. Here's Bev. What's going on with this fuzzy ass shit? Bev started an hour and 50 minutes late. Or I'm sorry, 50 minutes late.
Over or under?
I'm going to refresh this. That's better. What the fuck is going on? God damn this thing.
you. All right, so the next motion we're going to do is just the motion for the view.
Constant.
You may be seated.
Judge 22-117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record?
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin.
Can you guys hear
Good morning,
me?
Ms. McLaughlin.
I'm Lally for the Commonwealth. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lally.
I'm just fussing on my side.
Good morning, Mr. Brennan.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson from the street.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Little, also on behalf of Ms.
Good
Reed.
morning, Ms. Little.
Good morning, Your Honor. Robert Alessi on
You guys
behalf
can
of
hear
Ms.
me?
Reed.
Is
Good
it?
morning, Mr. Alessi.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Unetti for Karen Reed.
Good morning, Mr.
Is there
Unity.
not? Is it? Can they hear me, Nutty?
Victoria George and Karen Reed.
Good morning, Ms. George. Good morning, Ms. Reed. All right, so I appreciate getting those lists on what we all thought were still either under advisement or needed to be heard today. There's one that it seemed that, all right, we'll start, first of all, let's start with the defendant's renewed motion that is not in writing. I think, Ms. Little, I think this was your motion for a forensically sound copy. You wanted to be heard on that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You did not file anything new, right?
No, just the motion
Okay.
for reconsideration.
When was that filed? That was filed a long time ago, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It was prior to the motion.
All right.
Your Honor, the defense respectfully requests that this court reconsider the portion of its February 18th, 2025 order denying defendant's motion to compel the production of a forensically sound copy of the Sallyport video surveillance footage from January 29th, 2022. The court obviously understands the importance of establishing the bona fides of the Canton Sallyport video in this case. The court sat through trial. You watched the testimony regarding the inverted video. The court initially denied the request for a forensically sound copy because I believe the court indicated it did not have an affidavit from an expert suggesting that the procedure proposed by the Commonwealth and objected to by the defense would result in the destruction of metadata. We have since provided the court with an affidavit from our expert establishing that if the Commonwealth engaged in the protocol that they proposed, namely simply dragging and dropping files from the Canton Police Department computer onto a USB drive, then all of the associated metadata would either be destroyed or otherwise unverifiable. And of course, right after we filed that affidavit, the very next morning, the Commonwealth went ahead and dragged and dropped the files from the Canton Police Department computer over to a USB drive. That damage has been done. It can't be rectified, but there may still be some metadata and available evidence on the Canton Police Department computer that our expert can glean if that data is properly imaged. The import of this video surveillance cannot be overstated. This is a seminal issue at trial. I have conferred with our expert. I do believe that there's a chance that we may still be able to obtain some relevant information. And so we're asking that the court order this. I would also note that after the hearing on this specific issue, the Commonwealth produced a new report. That report was dated February 27th, 2025. And in that report, Canton Police Department Sergeant DGM Pietro claims for the very first time that he was responsible for downloading all of the Canton Police Department surveillance video, in this case, onto the detective drive at issue. So that's everything from January 29th. That's incredibly important. We don't have all of that information, and we're asking the court to order that that be properly imaged for our review.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brennan.
It seems the defense characterization as forensically sound is fluid. It's difficult to follow. What is clear is that we invited them to come to the Canton Police Department, bring their expert, download anything that was on the DVR, which nothing existed. And then we further invited them to download the detective file. They had over a month to do that. They declined. That invitation has been ongoing. It's been constant, and it is current. If they would like to go to the Canton Police Department with their expert and download any of the detective file and see what exists, they're welcome to do that. So if they want a court order allowing them to come, which they don't need because we've invited them continuously, we'll agree to the court order. They're welcome to come anytime.
So is the Commonwealth now agreeing that we can forensically image the Canton Police Department detective file? Because we've been in our request.
Okay, so I really don't want you talking to each other. I want you talking to me. All right, so you asked the question to me. Answer it, Mr. Brennan.
The defense cannot download the entire detective file because it contains files wholly unrelated to this case. And it would then intrude upon private information and other investigations. They can go to the detective file and they can download everything to do with this case. But they cannot have a photo image of the entire detective file of the Canton Police Department.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the next motion we're going to do is just the motion for the view. I had asked defense counsel to propose something about how Ms. Reed will get there. Have the two of you talked at all about how we're going to do our view? Two sides talked?
We haven't talked about the logistics. I'm happy to do that. I don't think that it's a very lengthy conversation between the Commonwealth.
Right, but we have to make arrangements, so that was something that I asked you to figure out. You say Ms. Reed wants to go on the view, she can go on the view. How do you propose that's done?
The simplest way would be for her to, obviously the jurors would be transported the exact same way that they were transported last time. We were on a bus. As I stand here, I can't remember if we were not on the same bus as the jurors.
Yes, we were.
We're just separated by seats, by
Right.
distance. I don't know that would be the best protocol. I think the better practice would probably be for the defense team to arrive at the same time, follow the bus in a separate vehicle, which we can provide. And Ms. Reed would be separated from the jurors the same way that the defense counsel was separated from the jurors and the Commonwealth was separated from the jurors, but just be there and able to observe the same circumstance that we observed last time.
So I'm not going to allow all defense counsel to come in a separate vehicle because then it will be the Commonwealth in the bus with the jurors. We need defense counsel. One defense counsel can go in a car then separately with Ms. Reed,
That's
and
fine.
the rest will be on the bus.
That's fine.
I do need you to talk to figure out when you want to do this view. Did you want input, Mr. Brennan?
The only issue that was of difference was whether or not the motor vehicle would be at the address. The only reason I had reluctance, I thought it was unfairly prejudicial to the defense. If they decide,
They want it, right? You want the vehicle there at the time?
We do.
if they want it there, then I'll be agreeable.
Okay.
That was my concern at the time.
That would have been a
That
heavy
set the
side, just so we're
threshold.
clear.
Agree to it.
Okay.
The date of the view, I didn't know if the court wanted any confidentiality in the date of the view. I would like to talk to.
So why don't I see counsel at sidebar about this anymore?
Okay, we're at sidebar. Sorry, we're having issues back here now. For me trying to fix what wasn't an issue, it has made me not be able to hear anything. So let's see if I can now hear. Oh boy, one of these days. Okay. Good. I think the sound is fixed for me on my end now. Go ahead and take a look at your bingo cards. Doing a little sample here. See, she had a lot of words out right there. We found some typos. So we're going to get a couple of these typos. McCabe, she wishes it was MA. We're just, again, trying to see if all the digital stuff is working. All right, so what they've decided here, Karen's going to be able to go. One of the defense members will go with her. The other defense members, as it should be, get on that bus, make sure that there's nothing weird going on. Perfect. And then that file, they're like, you cannot have a photo, like an image of the whole thing, a forensic image, because there's all this other stuff on it. That's just interesting to me. They just do stuff whack over there. They're at a sidebar right now. Sidebar. Thank you so much there. Is it Megals? Megalegs? Meglis? Can't see shit today. I can't hear shit. Again, welcome. Mr. and Mrs. Reed there. I don't know who's sitting next to them. That's not the old juror. She's got blonde hair. What is the name of the attorney who was juror? That was Victoria, but that's not her sitting next to the Reeds there. Sidebar. Again, big tickets here is Brennan wants to use hearsay in this trial, so it's going to be interesting. I want to see the ruling on this. This trial, again, will start on Tuesday. They're starting on Tuesday because, well, it's Easter, and I think it's also fair to give the jurors some time to, like, get their shit together. So it'll start next Tuesday, opening statements, and then they'll be calling witnesses. Brennan trying to use in opening statements Miss Reed's out of court statements. So we'll see. I want to know what exception this. Nothing would be. Here we go. Let's see.
All right, so on the defendant's list, I don't understand the motion regarding Dr. Welcher, because that's been decided. So why is that appear on this list? Is it erroneously on the list?
It's not erroneously, Your Honor, but Mr. Brennan and I spoke about it. We have an agreement that will obviate the need for the court, which is my presumption. Mr. Brennan is going to state it, and that would be my suggestion to Your Honor, and then we can move on to the next matter. We've reached agreement.
Okay, what's the agreement? What's the agreement?
The agreement is there's going to be a redaction to the PowerPoint presentation of Dr. Welcher, specifically page 37. There was, according to Attorney Brennan, an erroneous remnant on 37.
Okay, so why don't you just provide me with the new slide so I know what it is? Okay.
I will do that.
All right, thank
Thank you,
you.
Your Honor.
Okay. So Lieutenant Wing, docket 607 and 658. So what I want to know about that, Mr. Brennan, before we begin is, do you have the new report of Lieutenant Wing?
I do. I received it last night. I haven't read it, but I discussed it with counsel. I understand it's just minor edits to the original report. So that won't delay any hearing on this.
All right, so you're prepared to go forward?
I am.
All right, I'll hear you.
Your Honor, the defense proposes Mr. Wing as a dog bite expert. I think it is too late to ask for a Lanigan hearing. The trial's upon us, regardless of whether or not I think I have standing for it. I do not want to delay this trial in any way. However, there are concerns about the qualifications of Mr. Wing. He has no experience in pattern recognition analysis. I see no training on his resume. I will not hold the defense to the standard they've tried to employ, that he is not a medical expert, nor will I rely on Dr. Russell saying she's the only qualified individual in the country, but rather this person should have some qualification to come into court and give an opinion that a abrasion is supposedly a dog bite. It doesn't appear that Mr. Wing is a certified trainer. It doesn't appear that Mr. Wing has ever testified in court before. And so to expedite the matter, rather than look or seek a Lanigan hearing, I think it would be helpful to have a short voir dire regarding his qualifications before he's presented as a witness, so the court can determine whether or not he is in fact even a qualified witness in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor. With regard to the report, I just want to underscore that there are changes and I discussed these with Attorney Brennan, but I want the record to be clear. There was an objection to the original report of references to Dr. Crosby. We removed those, so those are fairly substantial.
Are there any other changes to it other than the removal of Dr. Crosby?
There are, but there, as Attorney Brennan indicated, they're minor parlance, et cetera, but otherwise it's the same substance.
Okay. So why don't you provide me with the new or redacted one as well, and I'll take a look at it.
Right,
Okay.
that has, I will do that, Your Honor. I'll provide the court with that forthwith. The second is on the substance. Lieutenant Wing is extraordinarily experienced. You will see that in his report.
Sirens, get out.
The summary of his experience, because it would take a lot of time to go through it. For several years, he's been one of, if not the country's leading experts on training law enforcement with regard to the use of canines, not only with bite and hold techniques, but also with what are called washout dogs, which are very much similar to civilian, some call them pet dogs. He has extraordinary experience with wound recognition. Attorney Brennan respectfully is incorrect when he says he doesn't have experience with pattern recognition. His experience is extraordinary in that regard. Your Honor will make her own judgment, but the report clearly establishes his pattern recognition. His methodology, unlike that of Dr. Crosby, is stated in his report, and in addition, he cites two specific studies for his report, including pattern recognition. And the whole topic of pattern recognition was well established through Dr. Russell. So Your Honor will see that as well. My last category of points to make, Your Honor, is this. The timing of this report came in light of the court's ruling on Dr. Crosby that a non-medical doctor can opine on wounds to humans. And we did make a motion for reconsideration with regard to Dr. Crosby, and understanding the court's schedule and other matters, given that there was not an ability to have that motion determined, we then decided that we had to submit the report of Lieutenant Wing. We want to make clear that Lieutenant Wing is being offered not as a rebuttal, but as part of the defense's case in chief. And it is part of that in light of the March 6th order of the court with regard to Dr. Crosby. The aspects of behavior in combination with the wound recognition is different from Dr. Russell. There is overlap, but it's different. And the bottom line here is that the approach of Lieutenant Wing in his qualifications exceed that of Dr. Crosby. And my request, Your Honor, is I do not believe there is at all a need for any kind of a hearing. Again, Your Honor will make that judgment when the court believes that, notwithstanding the qualifications of Lieutenant Wing and his methodology as set forth in his report, we would respectfully request that we have a voir dire hearing on Dr. Crosby. We have made that request of Dr. Crosby.
That's another motion. That's what we're going to hear next.
Understood. And I was just going to say, I am not going to get into the basis for that. I just wanted to, because.
Just go ahead. Just move along.
Yeah. So my request would be that a determination on whether or not there's a voir dire of Lieutenant Wing abide the motion in the discussion. So in conclusion, Your Honor, we respectfully request that have a voir dire hearing on, at a minimum, wait for that determination until the court reads the report of Lieutenant Wing.
Right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So there's also a motion for reconsideration regarding Dr. Crosby. I can tell you regarding reconsideration, I've found that he is an expert. I am not going to reconsider whether or not Dr. Crosby is an expert. I'm not going to reconsider whether he can testify as something is consistent or inconsistent with dog bites. But Mr. Brennan, I don't see how you're going to have him testify as to whether these marks could have come from Chloe, the specific dog. I think that you can certainly talk about measurements that may have been made, but I don't see how he can testify that this either was or was not this particular dog, particularly in light of the most recent National Academy of Science report that found that no evidence of an existing scientific basis for identifying an individual to the exclusion of all others via bite mark evidence. So what do you want to say about that?
Your Honor, there's a distinct difference between inclusion and exclusion. The National Academy of Forensic Science was an extraordinary study, well respected. I've read it many times, and that is a consensus among experts that teeth structure can in many ways be similar. So it is unfair to conclude that a particular person or a particular dog should be included or identified as the person who left that particular pattern. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It is different in kind and not within the realm of that study or any other studies that I've seen to exclude a person or a dog as the contributor of that bite. And here, there is definitive evidence to clearly show and base an opinion that the dog named Chloe was not the cause of those wounds. That is the whole purpose of having the mold of Chloe, which is done with humans routinely, often, orthodontists, dentists, restructuring. The spacing itself is so distinguishable between the molds and the spacing on Mr. O'Keefe's arm. It is an objective, a specific, and a substantive basis to draw a conclusion that there is no way to a degree of certainty that these wounds were caused by Chloe's mouth. In particular, Dr. Russell had opined not only that the bites were consistent with a dog wound, but she also opined about molars in different parts of the mouth. And since the defense has decided to likely identify particular teeth and structures as the basis to say it's comparable, consistent with a dog, we should be able to counter that in rebuttal, not in our case in chief, in rebuttal, that these molds showed to a reasonable degree of certainty that these wounds could not have been caused by Chloe. So it's exclusion, not inclusion.
Is that so scientific?
It's an uphill battle for you, I'll tell you that. I'll hear from Mr. Wilson.
It's an uphill battle for you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I can go
Fucking
through this
Ben.
quickly. The National Academy of Science, the 2009 report Your Honor is referring to, there is no finding in that exclusion's okay, but inclusion is not. There's nothing in there to support that proposition. That's number one. Number two, with regard to the opinion of Dr. Crosby, he did use a mold, but he didn't use the overlay. In the NAS, I'll shortcut it, 2009, the only way you even get to discuss it is you have to have the mold and the overlay. Dr. Crosby doesn't have the overlay. So even not considering the first point I made, where that's allowed for humans, you need a mold and an overlay. So there is no basis in science for the proposition that with certainty this could not be Chloe. So in sum, the inclusion-exclusion distinction that Mr. Brennan tries to make is nowhere rooted in the NAS study. And the point that Your Honor made and that we have made consistently is that there's little difference between inclusion and exclusion when you get to the methodology that's employed. So we, Your Honor, would support what Your Honor's comment was in the beginning, and that is there should be no discussion with regard to Chloe on inclusion or exclusion basis. Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you want to reply?
I would simply suggest that there is no authority that I'm aware of that prohibits exclusion, none. And as a predicate, and I know it's a side matter, the idea of Chloe as a predicate, that requires third-party culprit. And so before there can even be discussion about that, there would have to be an offer of proof that we have not seen and has not been presented. So it really should be irrelevant. But if the defense is going to try to bring it up, it's going to become a live issue. And if we have an obligation or we have a need to rebut, we want to fully rebut any of those claims.
Okay, which is why originally I was going to hear this motion to reconsider after the defense presented their witnesses. So, all right, thank you. The substitute chemist, is there any objection to the substitute chemist? It's Commonwealth's motion 663.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so Jim, 63 is allowed.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you both have motions that are similar regarding, it's the Commonwealth 669 and Defense 670, I believe. It's about the audio visual aids and giving notice. So you're both in agreement to give notice to the other side before you use anything, and have you done so with regard to openings?
The Commonwealth agrees to give notice. We've provided a number of clips of statements that we seek to use during the trial. I hope to narrow the ones that we're going to use specifically so the defense could have more notice of it. We have a clip that we'd like to offer in the opening. I'm not sure if our office has provided that to the defense. If not, we'll do that shortly after the hearing.
Okay. Who's arguing this for the defense, or who's telling me what's
I am,
going
Your
on?
Honor. We're happy to provide notice. We have not yet received the particular audio clip that the Commonwealth intends to use during opening, but we're happy to provide any visual aids that we intend to use as soon as today.
All right. I'd like to see what you both intend to use in your openings, because whether you agree with it or not, I have to make sure that it's admissible, that I know it will be coming into evidence before I let you put it up there.
That really is the
This is
motion.
for the court. The Commonwealth will provide a copy to defense. That's
Okay, thank you. Can I have the defense what you intend to put up?
Just a single photograph, Your Honor. I'll provide it to the court immediately after the hearing.
Okay,
Your Honor, I'll add that there are a number of statements that we have clipped. We, with the court's permission, would like to provide an entire package to the court so you can have an opportunity to view if you wanted to.
thank you. So I
Not
need
gonna argue this.
the defense to look at this before the end of the hearing because I don't
Yeah.
want to bring everybody back tomorrow if you object to what the Commonwealth intends to put in their opening.
Exactly. What the
Did you
fuck is
tell them
going
what it is?
on?
Like, is it something that they already have?
They've had the materials, the interviews in total, but we've clipped the pieces that we want. It's been an ongoing process. I understand my office has sent a slew of those clips to the defense.
Okay.
I want to narrow it down. We're not going
We
to
have a
use
new
all of them
court
because
reporter.
There's a rebuttal portion, but I want to narrow down what we're giving them. But we've been over-inclusive on what we intend to provide.
The Commonwealth provided at least 44 clips. I'd ask for whatever they intend to actually use in their opening so we can look at it for.
I think that's what they just said. They're just going to
Yes,
give
we'll
you.
give them the file name and if the court takes a recess, we'll give them the file
Yes,
name.
I'd like to do that just in case there's an objection,
What
or I
the
can bring you
fuck
all
is
back
going
tomorrow
on?
or Friday, and I don't really want to do that to you. So,
No.
all right, so we'll just take a look at that. Okay, so that sort of also covers, I guess, the Commonwealth's motion regarding the use of extrajudicial statements. And if you hang on while I grab that. Is there an objection to that motion?
I mean, what
No,
the
Your
fuck
Honor.
have they done?
Okay.
Can I make a note?
Yes,
So-
please.
The
Down.
defense, I'm sure, is aware, but I want to point out as part of that motion, we're asking to have an independent reader, someone who is not an officer or involved in this case. I don't expect there'll be any emphasis or drama in the presentation
Okay.
of text messages, but I think an independent reader is fairer, more objective, and we'd like to have that independent reader take the stand at times throughout the case when we want to introduce certain text messages that don't involve a participant.
All right. How are you going to find this person?
No, wait,
So we
what?
could have somebody playing clothes from the state police, or we could find somebody that's agreeable to the defense. But I think it would be best if we have an independent reader who's available throughout the trial to play that role.
Okay.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. What the fuck are you talking about, Brendan? You guys, they want to have somebody nearby to be a professional reader for the text messages when it doesn't pertain to somebody that's on the witness stand. Did I hear that correctly? First of all, I want everyone to know that text messages are hearsay. Okay. They are hearsay. And I thought we started late because they were looking at these clips. What were they doing between 10 and
Your Honor, thank
50?
you for the time to consult with my colleagues. I don't think we're in a position to agree or disagree at this point. I don't know exactly which text messages or which conversations are intended to be independently
is
read.
Bingo queen.
At the last trial, they simply came in through the person that found the text messages. Mr. Lally asked, I think, Mr. Garino, I can't remember his first name, Mr. Garino to recite the messages from both sides, and that was done pretty effectively and expeditiously. But unless I know more about exactly what the theater of having an independent reader is going to be like, I can't really weigh in.
Go ahead.
May I?
Yes.
Wherever there's a witness involved in the conversation, if those text messages are admissible, it would come in through the witness. Text messages between Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant, there is no author of those. And so we will introduce those text messages, the admissible ones, at different parts in the trial when they become relevant. So it's not sufficient to simply have a state police officer who is not a witness to those text messages to come in and read them continuously through the trial. Mr. Garino is an independent witness in this case. To bring him back regularly as a police officer, I think creates the wrong impression. I think objectively,
Okay.
we can have somebody come in who simply reads those text messages when they're appropriate to introduce.
I would disagree gently with Mr. Brennan. That's exactly what the proper protocol is. If Mr. Garino is the one who found, if he's a state trooper, he found the text messages. He was the one who downloaded the data. He was asked about those text messages previously. I think having him come back, and it doesn't matter how many times he comes back, he's paid by the state. He can come back 5 times or 1 time. To have somebody else come in or other individuals come in to act as readers, I think that is not in keeping with the ordinary course of presentation of the evidence. It just doesn't make sense to me to have a reader come in it seems to add a theater to the text messages that are inappropriate. I don't know who these individuals would be. And the text messages are admissible because they're their statement of a party opponent, and the other is the context of the statement of the party opponent. So I don't see any reason to change the protocol that we had last time.
All right. If I were to allow an independent reader, do you have a male and a female? Or
Are
would
you-
it be a male reading a female's responses?
Oh,
I haven't
fucking.
identified anybody, but I can get a male and a female.
All right.
We
And
would
that's exactly
know.
what we don't want. I think that's inappropriate. It's not going to be Mr. O'Keefe, and it's not going to be Ms. Reed.
And it's not going to be
The
portrayed
text
as
messages
such.
speak for themselves. The jurors should be able to analyze the words that are on the page, the text messages as they were written and drafted, not the inflections and the repartee between two independent people with motives that may or may not be consistent with the text messages. As we all know, it's a very, very different circumstance to have a text message communication with someone and have a conversation with someone. for instance, telephonically
Abso-fucking-lutely.
or verbally. People talk about it all the time. Things get lost in text messages. Having them read by a state trooper who found them.
So it can be perhaps, not a state trooper. That's all. It's,
What?
I understood it to be to take out all infliction and
No.
completely that.
Right. I heard
So-
I heard Mr. Brennan say the same thing. I don't know that that's actually what's going to happen. And this lends itself to sort of a theatrical presentation that's completely
It's
unnecessary. and
inflammatory.
Incredibly objectionable. And then once it's done, it's done.
All right.
Bev, what the
I will
fuck?
consider it.
There'll be no inflection. That would be appropriate.
Thank you.
Why would anybody read text messages in a
All
courtroom?
right. Defendant's motion for specific discovery, paper 638, Jimmy.
Unfucking believable that that's even being offered.
All right. Who's arguing it?
Yes, that's me, Judge. Good morning. Before court today, Mr. Brennan and I conferred, and I think we've largely reached agreement. The only numbered items on which we do not agree are 3 and 4, which are related. I will say as a preface that we are withdrawing request number 8. And with regard to request number 7, we've agreed on the following language, Judge, which I would read into the record. Number 7 would be any indication of a witness willing to change testimony in exchange for any consideration. With that, I would
Wait, what?
ask the court to allow the motion. With regard to 3 and 4, I believe that we should receive information if there's a witness who has expressed to the Commonwealth either a refusal or a reluctance to testify in this matter or to cooperate in any way.
Okay. There's no authority for that in Rule 14, correct?
We believe that it's consistent with Rule 14, which is why we've made the request.
Okay. Where? Where in Rule 14 or the reporter's notes?
Relevant and discoverable. It applies to a witness's credibility, motives, intent, and that's the basis on which we make the request.
Okay. I'll hear from the Commonwealth.
Number 5? Yes. With regard to number 5, we also talked about modifying the language. Mr. Brennan had taken it down for us. Any information of any witness regarding promises, inducements, or rewards to that witness.
Okay. Mr. Brennan, regarding 3 and 4, what's the Commonwealth's position?
Your Honor, that does not go to motive or credibility. It is not within Rule 14, should not be discoverable. It's irrelevant. It doesn't show any bias on behalf of the witness if they had any reluctance or concerns about testifying. I have been very broad in my agreements regarding discovery. Anything that is Rule 14, exculpatory, even their specific requests, which extend beyond Rule 14, I am more than happy to give them. But I think 3 and 4 are personal, irrelevant, and have nothing to do with bias or credibility.
Okay. Thank you. All right. The ARCA witnesses. Motions regarding that. So where do you stand, Mr. Brennan, with what has been provided and what you might think has not been provided?
There are two issues. There is the discovery that we have requested in the past. At this point, I stand unsatisfied with that discovery production. And then secondly, there is the limitations that should be imposed upon ARCA based on what has been provided pursuant to reciprocal discovery. I'd like to start with the second part, and that is we have a little chronology. December 5th, 2024, we submitted docket 442, Commonwealth's motion for reciprocal discovery, which was allowed by the court. There were a number of other motions which led to March 27, 2025, docket 640, Commonwealth's motion to compel reciprocal discovery of ARCA witnesses or to exclude their testimony. And then the next day, on March 28, 2025, the defense responded with docket 642, which was a response to docket 442. And so what we were looking for, not only Rule 14, but more specifically our discovery motion, was information from ARCA that would make clear the relationship between the ARCA witnesses and the defense back from its inception. It is important because that information, a thorough vetting of the information, may be a basis for the Commonwealth to inquire of these ARCA witnesses, if they're called, about candor, truthfulness, and full disclosure. And so while we've received some answers to our questions, we want a full vetting of that history. On a prior date, the court suggested that perhaps we could have a voir dire, not regarding their qualifications, but regarding this very issue about the relationship between the witnesses and the defense. That is one viable option. My concern specifically is if they are subject to a voir dire the day before their testimony, they're traveling from out of state, they will not have with them documents and other items which are necessary for the Commonwealth's review and likely use during the examination. And so if the court was to maintain there would be a voir dire the day before the hearing, I would ask for an order from the court to order ARCA to bring the discovery that was ordered in the Commonwealth's discovery motion back on December 5th, 2024. The response by the defense, a large part of it is that it's not within their custody or control. And so these items, I expect, would be in the custody and control of these ARCA witnesses. There are a number of specific items which we sought in our discovery motions. Those items include communications, billing, emails, text messages, etc. And so those documents, if we do not obtain them in advance or the day before the witnesses are set to testify, we will never have an opportunity to send them home to get the materials that are relevant. So if the defense position is not in their custody and control, then I ask the court to order the ARCA witnesses to provide that information prior to the voir dire so that we can review it. Secondly, the defense has provided that they have retained the ARCA witnesses independently. We have received no new discovery other than communications and emails. What is concerning is that in the notice from the defense, there is some suggestion about the ARCA witnesses potentially rebutting or commenting on Mr. Welch's testimony. Discovery deadlines have passed some time ago. It would be inappropriate at this point to have any new opinions, any new information, any new reports. We have been steadfast from the beginning of this case, early on, about discovery deadlines. And so my expectation is if the ARCA witnesses testify, they would be required to testify pursuant to their February 12, 2024 report, and they would not be able to provide any further opinions any further ideas or any further reports. So the two things, to simplify it, that I'm looking for is for the court to have that voir dire, again, for a limited purpose, to order ARCA witnesses to comply with the discovery order that the court has already imposed, and to have ARCA limited to the discovery that was properly provided before the discovery deadlines. Those are my three requests.
Okay, who's arguing this?
Now, this is really important. So we're following the Brian Colbert case, right? So we're talking about deadlines. So let's see what happens here.
I want to go in reverse order briefly, if I could, concerning the discovery deadlines. We have continued to receive new notices of discovery from the Commonwealth well after the same deadlines that Mr. Brennan is now bringing up concerning ARCA. They filed their notice of completion or certificate of completion long ago, and we have consistently received new information from their experts, new reports, amended reports, redacted reports, additional information. Both sides understand that discovery is an ongoing situation, sometimes out of our control. To that point, on March 26, 2025, we received for the first time official notice from the United States Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice that we, the defense, or either side, the Commonwealth as well, were free to engage ARCA directly as expert witnesses in this case. On that same day, we contacted the Commonwealth. Actually, the very next day, we contacted the Commonwealth and provided them information that we would be and had engaged them. We've provided the engagement agreement. We've provided them with all discovery that we have appropriate there too. And insofar as, or to the extent that any additional testing and or analysis is completed by those experts, because keep in mind, it's only been, we can count it in days that we've actually been able to engage them. If there is in fact additional testing and or analysis that is noteworthy, then we will, or that we intend to use, we will obviously provide that to the Commonwealth forthwith, which we indicated in our moving papers. We will maintain that posture throughout. And if there is additional information to be disclosed, it will be disclosed. It will be disclosed in a timely manner. We do not have anything as yet as we stand here today, but we.
What do you think a timely manner is? What ballpark are you talking?
When I get a report, I will turn it over the same day. If I get a report, I will turn it over the same day. If I get a new analysis, I will turn it over the same day. If we get new testing results, we will turn those over the same day that we get them. In other words, I can't control the conduct of the experts. They may or may not be engaging in additional testing or analysis, but if they are, once I get it, we'll turn it over. So that's all I can say to that. We're not holding anything back. We're not hiding anything. We're, as soon as we get something, if we get it, to the extent that there is additional analysis or testing done, that will be turned over forthwith. With regard to docket number 642, we did, Your Honor, I don't want to waste the court's time. We did respond in detail to every single one of the 12 requests that the Commonwealth has made. I'm happy to go through those if the court wishes me to, but.
Hold on one second. Mr. Brennan, are there specifics that you say are still outstanding of the 13 or however many points there were? Because this is on what you filed. So this is not unusual. A party says, we asked for all 13. Another party says, we gave them to you. And then the party says, I don't have them. Can we narrow this? Is there anything specifically that Mr. Jackson should address?
Yes. Their response is that it's not in their custody control.
So for which ones? Which of your numbers?
Number one, a complete statement of all opinions to be expressed by Daniel Wolf.
Okay.
And their response is the information in the possession, custody, and control of the defense has already been produced. That obviously understates the fact that they would hope to have new opinions. That is the very point that this is not responsive. their discovery deadline has passed. And so I would like to talk about or respond after Attorney Jackson is done about what is going to evolve from this conversation. This is exactly what I was worried about back in November, what I expected might happen and should not have happened. So it's difficult now to parse the different pieces of my discovery request, but we do not have all the billing, all the communications, all the text messages, all the emails between the parties. And if the defense's position is not in their custody control, well, it's certainly in the custody control of ARCA. We do not have all prior reports, all prior testing, all field testing, photographs, pictures. We don't even know who was what part of this report.
That's a heavy sigh.
So my tolerance about this ongoing development of discovery is a extraordinary problem for me. This is the number one issue I anticipated and that I've tried to prevent.
Okay, so address number one, Mr.
The
Jackson.
number one issue that Mr. Brennan has anticipated and tried to prevent is ARCA testifying. Let's just call it like it is.
So
Desperately
address
does
number
not
one,
want.
please,
I
okay?
am. That's what I'm doing, Your Honor. We have provided on April 12th, about 1,000 pages, additional pages, responsive to the request specific to ARCA. The response that we provided to request number one is as follows. The information in the possession, custody, and control of the defense has already been produced and can be found in the ARCA report, the voir dire testimony, and the trial testimony of Dr. Wolf and Dr. Rentschler. That is specifically in response to request number one. What we have, they have. Mr. Brennan constantly stands up and says, we don't have all the emails, we don't have all the communications, et cetera. They have everything. We've already turned that over. There is nothing that we have not turned over that's in our possession. With regard to the new information that Mr. Brennan says, this is exactly what I was worried about, et cetera, we could not engage these experts until we got permission from the Department of Justice. The federal government had to give us permission. They gave both sides permission on March 26th, 2025. We immediately, Your Honor, as best we could, leapt into action to contact ARCA and engage them formally so that they could act as experts for the defense in this case in furtherance of potential testimony moving forward. We do not have additional testing results. We do not have additional analysis. We do not have additional reports or findings as yet because it's only been a few days. If we get those, we will turn those over immediately. And that's all we can be expected to do. If the court wishes to go through the others, it's listed as 13, but there's actually 12 requests. I'm happy to do that. If the court's satisfied with.
I have a question. It was my question last time when they testified. It wasn't clear to me who did what each witness did regarding testing, preparation, things that are normal cross-examination. Is that clarified any better? They said we. They talked about we did this, we did that.
Well, I would disagree with that. Dr. Rentschler talked about what he did, which was more on the biological side.
There was a difference between the
and
two.
Dr. Wolf talked about what he did on the mechanical side. They did discuss what their individual or their specific capacity was and their expertise. We have not received any additional report to that effect. Everything that is in the report is exactly what the Commonwealth received at the same time that the defense received it. And it's exactly what they testified to both in the voir dire and in the trial. There's no clarification that we haven't asked for clarification. If there is clarification in any new analyses, that will be turned over immediately as well.
Is there anything that they're going to say they cannot provide because of the federal investigation?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know. I haven't asked them if there's communications that Mr. Brennan is asking for that they can't provide. I haven't asked them that because I've not deigned to.
Can we consult counsel just for a moment?
Sure.
This is wild.
Right. Ms. Liu I was getting to the point, but she emphasized, and I will emphasize it here, The one thing that the US government has said to both the Commonwealth and to us is, in furtherance of their testimony, in furtherance of their engagement, they still are not allowed to detail confidential communications that they had with the US government and the Department of Justice.
But can
So-
they testify as to what they did?
Yes, yes, that's on the
Can they
table.
testify under what direction they did these things?
Well, they can certainly testify to what they did. Absolutely. That is on the table. Every bit of testing, every bit of analysis.
But why they did it?
What their communications were, what their directives were, that is confidential. And
Can I see Councilor Tagbar, please?
Okay. What I think she's getting at here is, are you going to, a roundabout way, be able to say, the feds had us do this because they didn't believe that they were looking into seeing if Karen Reed was framed? I mean, don't you guys just hate it when, like, what's the question? What's the question? Why are we beating around the bush? Theodore says he has bingo. Well, if you have bingo, Theodore, you have to have a card number, and go ahead and give that card number up. But how I kind of see this back and forth. First of all, Brennan, if they weren't allowed to talk to them until March 25th of 2025, it is how many fucking how many days is that? We've been able to possibly engage these people for 20 days. Let me tell you guys how this works in the world of law land. Okay. You want to make as many, you don't want a ton of communication because you're racking up a bill. Okay. I'm not communicating, but I don't need to sit up here and tell you guys anything like that. Like that's with me and my client. If you're a lawyer, like that's, what are you fucking talking about? So Brennan thinks that there's all this communication, or is Brennan trying to find out if they communicated before the day that they were allowed to? And so he wants an order for ARCA to provide all of the communications to see if basically they line up. That's how I look at it. Like, here, this is what ARCA's given us. This is what, Alan Jackson's given us. I think it's interesting as fuck because normally expert witnesses, here's the deadline. You have to have your expert disclosures in. And this is what we're getting into with the whole Brian Kober case. Okay. I question Alan Jackson saying that he doesn't know. I don't know what they're working on right now. I find that hard to believe. Once you've retained them, I would hope to God you know what they're working on. They're your fucking witness. Like, you just have money at your disposal to say, like, hey, do whatever you want to do from now to then. So I find that hard to believe that when Alan Jackson says that we have no idea what new testing they would have done. I find that hard to believe, because if you retain them, you're paying them to do things. You're asking your expert for, like, you hire them for a reason. Now, if it was just, I would retain them because you guys were having them testify to the same thing that they testified to in last trial. Okay. This whole, like, ambushing, it's getting old. Okay. These people that are, witnesses, that are expert witnesses, you're hired, you're retained, there's a deadline, get your report in, and that's what you have. Obviously, an expert witness's opinion can change based on new information, right? That's why you always ask and you see what they were provided. What were you provided with to come up with your opinion? And remember, last trial, they were trying to talk about, well, did they give you stuff? And they're like, no. So if you wouldn't have had the key cycles, but he's like, that doesn't change. That doesn't mean shit for what we did. That doesn't mean anything. That's irrelevant to what the fuck we did. Okay. We're checking to see if John O'Keefe's injuries are consistent with the damage done to Karen Reed's vehicle. It has key cycles and all this other bullshit does not matter because we're talking about orange and apples. And that's when they said, would your opinion have changed? And the answer is no, the fuck it wouldn't. Our opinion wouldn't have changed because that stuff, it has no relevance in what we're doing. It did not change anything. It does not add to anything. So Hank just wants them to be able to only testify to the report from February 12th of 2024 because there's been no new disclosures. And if that's the case, then yeah, okay. But if we provided ARCA with new reports based on these other experts that the Commonwealth has now employed, here you go, look at these reports. You know how what do you think about them? Or they didn't give him anything like that. It just the ARCA guys they're in Karen, they're not rebuttals. They're Karen's case in chief. Okay. Marky Love, the new pin link is the new card. Oh, there you go. Is it working? This is just mind blowing to me though. I get what he's saying about the whole new discoveries ever, they continue to keep giving us stuff. That's comparing oranges to apples because we're talking about expert witnesses. That's totally different because there was expert deadlines. And that's where I think this is what's going to happen in the Brian Kohlberg case. Ann Taylor was trying to get the judge to say, yeah, this is the deadline. So, if they don't have their stuff in, then this is what they're going to be held. They can't testify to anything outside of this. It's kind of like when in Richard Allen's case, when Cecil got up there, okay, it was so inappropriate for him to get back up and rebut Stacey Eldridge and say that he made a Google search outside during the recess break. Google search, that is not what experts do. That is so fucking unbelievable that was elicited. That testimony was even asked. Like, that's improper. I think that's prosecutorial misconduct. When have you ever heard an expert witness during the break Google something and take a Google search and say, oh, I Googled, and Google says that our phone could be waterlogged, the iPhone 6, because that could happen because of water damage. The fuck? That is not an expert opinion. But can you think about that? Just wrap your head around that, man. Karen, what's good? $999.99. Shake our bell. You can ring my bell. So I'm just outraged. Perlmutter should have been able to testify. That's all I know. Stacey Eldridge should have been hired before August. That's all I know. You not hire phone experts 2 months before a trial. Unreal. You guys heard the siren over here?
All right. So, Mr. Jackson, you're saying that the ARCA witnesses did not do anything, did not read anything, did not consult anything, did not try any additional experiments or come to any findings other than everything that's in that report.
That is correct. That's what we've been told. We have no reason to believe otherwise. Everything that they did, everything they were asked to do, and all the data that they were provided upon which to base their opinions and conclusions is provided in the report. And that was all subject to cross-examination, both at the voir dire and at trial.
All right, and then subsequent to that, information was provided by Mr. Yannetti. And you have that all documented, whatever information the ACRA authorities now are working on is information provided by Mr. Yannetti or his file?
So there's two issues. I want to make sure I don't conflate these. Mr. Brennan mentioned a subpoena that Mr. Yannetti had received at his office.
Mr. Yannetti had brought it up in open court.
Correct. That subpoena was honored, as we had to, obviously, as Mr. Yannetti had to honor it. For every single NOD that we got from the Commonwealth, that was then submitted to the federal authorities.
When was that done?
It was done periodically since the subpoena came into his desk.
When did it start?
I don't remember the days. September 1st, 2022.
Thank you.
I didn't remember the specific date, but it was very early on. So the Department of Justice, or the U.S. Attorney's Office, was receiving information pursuant to that subpoena in an ongoing basis. But I want to make clear, that's not information that was then going to ARCA. The U.S. Attorney's Office decided what information, and the FBI decided what information to supply to ARCA to answer their questions.
Do you know what information was provided?
Yes, it's in the report. There were 14 categories of items that were provided to ARCA, and they said that's all that we were provided.
All right, so then it's accurate to say items that are in the notices of discovery that ARCA does not list were not provided to them?
Correct. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, they were provided a very narrow, it was a narrow scope of work, if you will, that did not include the myriad things that we were getting in NODs.
All right, then you
September
started
2022.
providing them information to fill in those gaps, right?
Once we received information from Dr. Welcher, for instance, we knew that we wanted at least to explore the idea of rebutting some of that information, from a biomechanic standpoint, and we wanted them to have basically a mirror image of what Dr. Welcher was provided.
All right, so when
that's
did you
what
do?
we provided to them.
When did you do that?
I want to say March 26th or 27th. I think it's in the motion. Let's take a quick look.
Okay.
Additional discovery for the experts for their review on March 26, 2025. That same day, the defense was provided all the additional materials to ARCA, including Dr. Welcher's reports and all of his findings, including the 140-page PowerPoint, et cetera. We wanted them to have everything that Dr.
Okay, this bitch never, sorry, that was on pause. This bitch never cared about a timeline ever. And now all of a sudden she's all about a timeline. I don't want people to get this twisted. These lawyers, judges, magistrates, opposing counsel, everybody knows how fucking important timelines are. And now she cares about a timeline. She's always known how important they are. But right here, she wants this fucking timeline. It blows me away. What about a timeline for other shit? Fuck you, Bev.
Dr. Welcher had, as well as Dr. Welcher's reports and findings.
All right, and you say that you will have that, you expect in the next 3 days or so.
Oh,
You
I didn't say 3 days. I said, I think we can count it in days, not weeks. So I would expect if there is something that we're going to receive, it's probably in the next week or 10 days, I would guess.
All right.
We are acting as efficiently as we possibly can, but we can only do so much, given the fact that we were only provided access to hire ARCA on March 26th.
All right, Mr. Brennan, I'll hear you.
This is the very issue I've been concerned about since the beginning of this case. And I've made every effort to alert the court that I had a concern, in fact, that I anticipated this very thing would happen. When I began this case, beginning of October, end of September, my first analysis was of the past history of this case and dropping experts and information during trial. My attempt was never to preclude ARC from testifying, never. But it was to preclude the defense from trying this case by ambush. And it was my primary concern. And that is why I filed motions from the beginning of this case. Your Honor must remember, I was filing notices of intention, notices anticipating, things that are not routine because I knew this very thing would happen. We had ARCA witnesses where I still do not believe we have had full disclosure. Regardless of whose fault it is, I still do not believe we have full disclosure. Not just for the basis of opinion, but regarding communications between the defense and ARCA. That's why I filed this motion for discovery. And when the defense responds it's not in their possession of control, that's why these ARCA witnesses who've made representations to this court about not knowing the defense and the limited interaction with the defense, they need to be held accountable. That information should come directly from the ARCA witnesses if the defense can't or won't produce it. I believe there will be information that ARCA has if you order them to bring in all of their communications, email, phone call records, billing, and text messages.
Just like they wanted in this case years ago with Brian Albert, Higgins, Jennifer McCabe, all these motherfuckers' phones. Okay? Brennan, you need to watch your fucking ass right here. What you are asking for is what they asked for, the defense asked for with these fucking witnesses. And they didn't get dick. She shut it down. This is bullshit.
And if it exists, I would like to see it. I think I'm entitled. The ARCA witnesses provided a report that blurs the roles of the parties. I can live with that. I can accept that. The ARCA witnesses provide a report that does not have a lot of information about their study and notes. I can accept that because I have prepared for it. But what I haven't prepared for is for the defense to wait until the last minute, then move for a tour request, which they know will take time, then provide information to ARCA on the eve of opening statements, and then expect to come in with new opinions and information and reports after we've already given an opening statement. It's not only trial by ambush. It not only takes away the Commonwealth's ability and right to prepare, it creates a disadvantage that information and argument has already made to the jury without complete information that they should have had. They could have retained any expert they wanted. They didn't have to wait for ARCA witnesses. They've had 3 years. They could have retained any accident reconstructionist they wanted, but they waited. They moved with a TUI letter on February 7th, 2025. Anybody with experience, including the defense, knows it takes time. If they really wanted the ARCA witnesses, they could have moved in November. We gave Judd Welch's CV in November. We met our discovery deadlines, and they were hard. There was more we would have done or wanted to do, but we couldn't because we honored our obligations to the court and the discovery orders. We provided the discovery pursuant to the orders so that they would be held to the same standard. And now we hear they waited until February 7th, 2025 for a tour request. And now they're giving new information to ARCA to come back and potentially give new opinions that we have no ability for our experts to evaluate. We have no ability for our experts to then go through and conduct more testing. This is the core of preparing for the case. They had that obligation. And so now to allow them to do this, it's not an aberration. This is a continued pattern from the last trial. They have their ARCA witnesses, they have their report. That is all pursuant to the discovery deadlines. To now let them change the rules and come in tomorrow, the next day, or 10 days from now and have new opinions after we've already told the jury our theory and our science and not have a chance to rebut it or consider it. I'll have no time during trial to sit down with the experts and assign them to review new information, new reports. I'll have no time to go back and reconsider the order of witnesses or the information we need or witnesses that we've decided we don't need in this case in scheduling. If it wasn't so obvious this was going to happen, I wouldn't be so upset about it. At some point, the defense has to be held to the same standard of discovery obligation. This isn't late notice. This isn't parachuting in. This is an effort they decided to make and wait until February 7, 2025. Your Honor, I ask you to allow ARCA to testify, allow them to testify to their report, be confined to the report that has met discovery deadlines, and to produce the request that the court ordered regarding discovery of the information that we want. That's what I asked this court to do.
Your Honor, what appears to be feigned indignation is just not consistent with the facts. We didn't receive Judd Welcher's report until basically February 2025. We received a report, I think it was January 31st, 2025, and we read it for the first time the next day on February 1st. Nobody's been dragging their feet. There is no ambush. This feigned indignation is just not consistent with the facts, Your Honor. The court hadn't ruled that we could even use ARCA until just a few weeks ago. We've been moving expeditiously to try to rebut a witness that the Commonwealth disclosed in February of 2025. By mid-March, we asked for a TUI request. We asked for a TUI permission, or asked permission to engage them through a TUI request. That does take time. We did it expeditiously. We weren't waiting for some advantage. As soon as we got the request approved, we immediately, that day, engaged them, and immediately that same day provided the Commonwealth notice that we had engaged them, and we intend to use them to, at the very least, to address Judd Welcher's testimony or his reports, the last iteration of which we got on March 24th. So if you want to talk about dates and chronology, what's good for the goose should be equally good for the gander. Mr. Brennan has been consistently providing us with new discovery after his certificate of compliance has been well done, the ink is well dry. We have a right, we have an obligation to address and to meet his new discovery. For instance, Judd Welcher's opinions and conclusions, with rebuttal opinions and conclusions, if we can. And I want to make sure that we're not conflating two separate issues. One is the information that ARCA had outside of any of our control. Nobody in this courtroom could have reasonably controlled what information they had.
But you did say that's all listed in the report and there's nothing more.
I was just about to say, the communications that they had with U.S. Attorney's Office, I don't have any access to that. That's confidential. But I do know what they provided to them for their analysis. That is all listed in the report. And both sides have had that from the day we received the reports, the federal disclosures. Both sides have had those. So nobody was in any disadvantage in the first trial, and certainly nobody is at a disadvantage in this trial. We're simply trying to meet our obligations as we could within the confines of the rules that were set up in no small part by the federal government. And now those strictures have largely been lifted, and we're moving forward as expeditiously as we possibly can.
Rather than addressing their obligations, it's always an attempt to assign blame. The government or the Commonwealth gave us late disclosures. The changes in Judd Welcher's PowerPoint were by exclusion. Attorney Alisi had concerns about certain things in the report, so we took things out of the report. There's a difference.
So you first provided it in November, then you're saying?
No, we provided, pardon me. We provided his CV in November. And then we provided on our discovery deadline.
EVs aren't shit.
January 31st, 2025. And then on February 5th, we provided all of the detailed background notes, references. And so we met our discovery deadlines. The changes to Mr. Welch's report have been the complaints, understandably, about what they believed was hearsay or inadmissible. So we removed pieces. There was no new testing. There was no new reports with information changing any of the things.
According to Mr. Alessi, who is much more facile with the facts of what's in Judge Welch's report, that's not quite true. There were additions made to the latest iteration of his report. And Mr. Brennan just admitted that February 5th was the first time that we received all of the information from Judge Welcher. The next month, within a few weeks of that, that's when we received permission to hire ARCA. That's when we received permission to engage ARCA. That's when we provided the individuals at ARCA with everything that we had been provided just the month earlier. So there is no ambush. There's no attempt at taking an advantage vis-a-vis time. It just doesn't, the arguments just don't play, not with the facts and the chronology of what we've been doing and we're continuing to do.
All right, thank you. I think is the only thing left the motion to sequester Aiden Kearney to remove him from the sequestration order. Is that the only thing that's now left outstanding?
Bradle. That's why Bradle's there.
No, Your Honor. There's also a motion in limine that was outstanding. It's the Commonwealth's motion in limine to prohibit reference to any pending internal affairs investigations.
Yes, where do we stand with that? I thought that you were going to.
We've had a chance to review the file. If there's any statements that are relevant, we think the defense is entitled to use those statements for impeachment or cross-examination. As far as the rulings, the administrative body's rulings, that should not be permissible. It's an opinion of a third party, and then it will open the door to the explanation that those sustained findings are limited to certain conduct, but
Then the
reflect
audit's
other types of
out.
conduct which we would need to rebut. A third party's opinions are not admissible to impeach a witness.
The defense vehemently disagrees with that.
I agree.
assertion. That's not the state of the law. We did provide notice to the Commonwealth of what we intended to admit at trial. The Commonwealth was conversely ordered to provide notice to the defense of what they were specifically asking to keep out. That was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago. I emailed Mr. Brennan the next day after it was due. They did not respond. I was told this morning they're seeking to exclude everything. I would like to be heard on that, Your Honor.
All right, so I don't have a copy of what it is you intend to introduce, right?
No, we provided notice to the Commonwealth, but
So I need that. Do you have it?
I can articulate it to the court. We want to admit the sustained findings that have been made against 4 separate officers in this case.
You know what? I do need that in writing. I need this in writing. I need a Commonwealth's response.
We needed to have a ruling on this in advance of,
Excuse me?
we need to have a ruling on this in advance of Monday.
Right.
I can try to get that to you today.
All right, get it to me today. I'll decide it tomorrow.
Okay. Are we allowed to make an oral argument as to this issue? It has been
Yes.
briefed already by the Commonwealth.
Okay.
She gets to oral argue.
You know, what I need is, I wasn't expecting
notice.
this here today, so what I need is the paper number. I think it's the Commonwealth's motion to exclude, but the last I had it as, it wasn't under advisement. You were going to figure out what the objection was and what you wanted to put in. All right, so we need to take a recess anyway, so that you can look at the video to see whether there's an objection to the opening. So why don't we take a 15-minute recess? And Ms. Little, if you can provide just the paper number and what the Commonwealth's response was.
It's paper number 588.
All right.
All right, if you can get 588 up.
Jim, I need that.
Sharian.
All rise for the court, please.
Okay, this is gonna get interesting. Fuck yeah. You guys, in round one, like they kind of like let things kind of just go, I guess you could say. Remember I backed this all up, so we were behind a little bit. So here, there's their short break, but we just got to fast forward for 5 or 6 minutes there. Wow. Okay. What were they doing? What has been going on? This case is wild. It is number 588. Okay. It is motion 588. And what this is about is the internals affair shit. And Hank just fluffs off, doesn't write her back. And they're saying, no, we get to, like, it's 4 officers. I want to know what 4 officers that they're talking about. That's interesting. I was wondering why Bradle is in the courtroom. Bradle's going to be heard on Turtle Boy's stance if he can be, watching this and all that crap. The videos, they're 100%. It's like, it doesn't matter what videos are asking for. The defense is going to object to this shit. Little gets to be heard. That's procedural due process, bitches. That's 14th Amendment right there. Little asked to be heard. She has a right to be heard because Miss Reed has a right to be heard. Now, I want to talk about this audit. Okay, they're talking about that they're going to bring in the audit. I don't see how you can literally just say that a third-party opinion doesn't fucking mean shit, but then say that you're going to use the Canton audit, which is a third-party opinion. I mean, I'm just, how do these people make these arguments that in one breath you're saying this, okay, and then literally the next motion that comes up, this is a third fucking part. What is going on? Like these arguments don't match. Like they don't. It would be across the board. It's mind blowing. And I want to see if the argument's made that, Your Honor, if they want the Canton audit in, that's a third party opinion. I don't even know what to say. I can't believe they want the audit. They want the audit because it shows that there was no, the findings of the audit said that there was no wrongdoing by the Canton Police Department, that they were, that they framed Karen Reed. I read that audit. In fact, I was just looking down there. They literally had hold on. How many pages was poor Sandra Birchmore. She got literally.
Hey, you're muted with the Sandra Birchmore.
No, I'm not. 2. Sandra Birchmore got 2. What? Sandra Birchmore got 2 pages. 2 pages. As part of the Canton Police Department crime scene audit, the audit team reviewed the Canton PD police response to Windsor Woods 3307, beginning on the morning of February 4th. Our team carefully reviewed Canton PD police reports and crime scene documentation surrounding the discovery of the death of Sandra Birchmore on February 4th. Timeline. 10 a.m., February 4th. Sharon, school resource officer, contacted the Canton Police Department school resource officer to check on Sandra Birchmore. Ms. Birchmore worked at East Elementary School located in Sharon, Massachusetts, and had not shown up for work, and employees were unable to contact her. At 10:55 a.m., Canton PD officers responded to 3307 Windsor Woods, who made contact with Ms. Birchmore with negative results. No one answered the door. Canton PD observed Ms. Birchmore's vehicle was in the apartment complex parking lot, covered in snow, and had not been moved since the snowfall on Monday, February 1st, 2021. They were just able to make that, Okay, sorry. I had to take care of something. Canton PD officers spoke with a property manager who provided a key to access the apartment. Canton PD officers entered the apartment and observed Birchmore in the bedroom seated on the floor with a belt around her neck secured around the bedroom closet door handle and appeared deceased. Miss Birchmore's cell phone was on the floor, located close to her body. Oh, I'm sorry, she had 3 pages, my bad. Canton PD officers contacted Canton PD supervisors who ordered officers to hold and secure the scene until Canton PD detectives could arrive. Shortly thereafter, Canton PD detectives arrived at the scene. Why aren't we mentioning what Canton police officers arrived? 11:46 a.m., Canton Fire Rescue paramedics arrived and pronounced Miss Birchmore deceased. So at 10:55, they go in and observe her, and the fire department does not get there until 11:46. 50 fucking minutes later. That's some shitty ass. What the fuck are they doing? 50 minutes to get fire over there. And the paramedics. Pursuant to Massachusetts general laws, Canton PD notified MSP troopers assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Canton PD also notified the medical examiner's office. Both the MSP and medical examiner's office responded. Canton PD detective, don't give a name, an MSP trooper entered the apartment and after viewing the apartment, proceeded to the bedroom where they found Miss Birchmore. Is that mine? Who is that? Why are they in our yard? MSP Crime Scene Services processed and digitally photographed the scene. Miss Birchmore's mobile phone and laptop computer were seized. Canton PD cleared the scene after the medical examiner's office removed Miss Birchmore from the apartment. Miss Birchmore's next of kin contacted the Canton PD by phone and was notified by the Canton PD that Miss Birchmore was found deceased. On February 5th, 2021, Canton PD Sergeant received an electronic message email from a witness who related she had information regarding Miss Birchmore's death. This information was passed to MSP for action. On February 5th, 2021, Miss Birchmore's next of kin stated she was aware that Miss Birchmore was pregnant and that the father of the baby was Stoughton Police Officer Matthew Farwell. Follow-up investigation by Canton PD on February 6th. On February 6th, 2021, Canton PD detectives conducted a follow-up investigation at Windsor Woods and interviewed a witness who advised Canton PD detectives that Miss Birchmore was involved in an intimate relationship with a police officer who was alleged to be the father of her unborn child. Canton PD detectives received information from a second witness who said Miss Birchmore had been dating a police officer who did not want the baby. And if Miss Birchmore did not get an abortion, he would take care of the problem himself. On February 6, 2021, Canton PD and MSP coordinated a second review of video footage at Windsor Woods. After the review of video footage, investigators identified a male subject, later identified as Stoughton Police Detective Matthew Farwell, arrived at the Windsor Woods on February 1st at 9:27 p.m. and departed at 9:56 p.m. Mr. Farwell was observed entering the apartment complex lobby and entering the elevator. Video revealed Mr. Farwell was at Windsor Woods for approximately 28 minutes. Canton PD detectives learned from a Windsor Woods maintenance worker that the person in the video looked like the man who helped Miss Birchmore move into her apartment. On February 6, 2021, Canton PD and MSP conducted a second search of Miss Birchmore's apartment. Note, after a lengthy federal investigation, Matthew Farwell was indicted by a federal grand jury in Boston on August 27, 2024. Mr. Farwell is accused of killing Sandra Birchmore on February 1, 2021 in Canton by strangulation to prevent her from providing information to law enforcement regarding potential federal crimes. Recommendations. Pursuant to Canton PD policy and procedures, officers should digitally photograph all crime scene and sketch the scene. Well, I'm guessing that's a recommendation because they didn't do it, right? The audit team reviewed a Canton PD police report prepared by a detective who wrote that Sandra Birchmore died of a suicide. What? We recommend death investigation reports be reviewed by the chief of the investigations division and approved prior to being finalized. Who's the detective that wrote the report that Sandra Birchmore died of a suicide? As stated above, the Canton PD should remain involved in death investigations that occur within the town of Canton. Conclusion. On February 4, 2021, Canton PD officers conducted the initial police response to the Sandra Birchmore crime scene and followed all procedures related to crime scene prevention. Canton PD detectives conducted follow-up investigation with MSP detectives on February 6th and received critical information from witnesses. As a result of investigative efforts, investigators identified Stoughton Police Officer Matthew Farwell was present at Ms. Birchmore's apartment on the evening of February 1st, 2021. Further witness interviews revealed Mr. Farwell was involved in a long-lasting, standing, intimate relationship with Ms. Birchmore. Chief Rafferty advised the audit team after February 6, 2021, Canton Police relinquished all investigative authority of the Sandra Birchmore death investigation to the Massachusetts State Police and the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. What the fuck? That's all it says. That's all it says. Unbelievable. I don't even, okay, what did that just tell us? So basically what we need to have audited is the Massachusetts State Police who buried it, right? Because what this audit is saying that Canton Police Department did not bury this case. MSP did, right? That is part of the audit. I just read you guys the 3 pages, and that's it, of the Sandra Birchmore case that's in the audit. What did that tell us? Now, these are the observations and findings in the John O'Keefe case. First responding officers should have photographed Boston Police Officer John O'Keefe at the location of where he was found before fire rescue moved him to the rescue. All interviews of critical witnesses, including Jennifer McCabe and Carrie Roberts, should have been conducted at Canton Police Department on January 29, 2022, after John O'Keefe was transported to the hospital. A consensual recorded witness interviews should have been conducted. The MSP, along with Canton Police Department, should have maintained a police presence at 34 Fairview Road, pending the secondary search conducted by MSP crime scene units. That is so underrated in this case. And that's my go-to, because the police, meaning Trooper Proctor, no longer, he couldn't have planted the shoe. And if you're going third-party culpability, you want to show that that shoe is so important and that it was planted by the third-party culpability people. Like, it's so important because the police didn't have that, okay? And you need to show those 2 pictures, and it's right there. All video footage files maintained on Canton PD's computer systems of Karen Reed's Lexus SUV while it was housed at Canton PD from January 29th through February 2nd should have been requested and turned over early in the Karen Reed case to lead investigators for any action as deemed appropriate. These people are all in cahoots. Yep, that's 100%. That's 100% accurate. It's clear as day. You know, you're giving way too much authority to the Massachusetts State Police. Why are you calling them in every fucking time? You know, why do they need to be called in? Well, because we don't know what we're doing. Because we're basically just, you know, trained to be, I don't know, patrol people. That's truly what it is. Unreal. How is this even going to be used? Okay. How who's going to get up on the stand and testify to this fucking audit? Okay. It's hearsay. What Ted Daniels say? Judge calls 15-minute recess. What?
I said her 50 minutes are like dog years.
Whatever. Investigations with leaf blowers. Honestly, they need to use that to their advantage. They need to keep the leaf blower in now. My opinion has completely changed on the leaf blower because I'm going to spin it. You need to show the leaf blower and show that they had a fucking leaf blower there. They would be able to get all, like, you have this the juror that's now part of the team. You need to emphasize that leaf blower, okay? You know, Kevin's like, is it gas or electric? It's fucking gas. And it was going. And they got all the way down to the grass. And there was no big chunks.
Back in session, you may be seated.
All right, so the first thing I viewed the clip. Is this only 15 seconds? Did I see everything you intend to use?
I expect that's only 15 seconds.
Okay. Was there any objection to what you saw?
No objection.
Okay, thank you.
I would
have
say
objected.
that's only the audio. There's a visual that goes with it, but because it comes from a broadcast, we have to copy it differently.
Okay,
That's the audio, but there will be the visual with it that was aired.
okay. I was able to see the video.
Super.
Okay.
Work.
All right, were you as well, Ms. Little?
Yes, we were able to see the video and we have no objection. And I did also provide, there's only a single photograph we intend to display. It will be an admitted exhibit. I provided a copy to counsel. I will also send that to the court as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'll hear you on this motion. Ms. Little, I'll hear your response to the Commonwealth's motion.
So during the break, we had an opportunity to discuss this issue with the Commonwealth.
Okay.
I believe we are in agreement on most of the issues.
Okay,
They have agreed that we are allowed to bring in the sustained findings as they relate to Trooper Proctor, Trooper Buchnick, Detective Lieutenant Tully.
okay,
The only issue that we need to work out, Your Honor, is with regard to Kevin Albert. And so we will continue to discuss that. I'm not as concerned in terms of timing with that particular issue.
okay.
If the court will give us, another day or two to discuss with the
Sure.
Commonwealth, if there's a remaining issue, we can address that promptly with the court.
Okay, can we address, is it something you need for your opening?
It's not.
It's
Okay, all right, so yes, we'll address it sometime next Tuesday or Wednesday. Take your time in working it out, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, so now is the only thing left the motion that Mr. Bradle's here for?
As far as I know.
Okay. All right. Morning, Mr. Bradle.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Turtle Boy's attorney.
Jim, you have that. All right, I probably have it here too. I have one, Jim, thanks. All right, I will hear you. Let me just ask, Commonwealth, you're moving to Sorry, you stay right there, Mr. Brado. Mr. Brennan, you're asking for sequestration on all the witnesses other than the ones that have already been decided, right?
I'm not sure I understand.
So there was already an order on who is exempt from the sequestration order, family members. We discussed, and there was an order on all of this.
Yes,
Are you asking that Aidan Kearney be sequestered?
I am. He's a named witness.
Okay. Does the Commonwealth intend to call him in your case in chief?
It depends on the development of the case. There are two issues that are important. The one in case in chief is whether or not there's any development of.
That wasn't the question.
If there is, Mr. Kearney becomes a more important witness.
That's not the
We'll have
question.
to assess that as the case progresses. The other is rebuttal. If the defense calls the defendant to the stand, then it is strong likelihood that we would call Mr. Kearney.
Okay.
Those are two things that I can't anticipate at this time.
Okay. All right. Now I'll hear you, Mr. Bradle.
All right, thank you very much, Your Honor. Judge, we don't have an offer of proof. I'll try to argue in the interest of time, and I think I know where the court's going with this, based on the prosecutor's statements and the context. So with that understanding, Judge, I would just start by saying that, there's really no reason to beat around the bush here, Your Honor. The Commonwealth is not going to call my client, Mr. Carney, who for the record is in the second row here today.
Can I just ask, if he were to call your client, would he take the fifth?
Yes, Judge, and I just should clarify for that.
Okay.
That is under the government's, the obviously well-established position of Norfolk County law enforcement. What we contend is a twisted interpretation of the witness intimidation statute, that seeking to contact witnesses, seeking to question people is witness intimidation.
Okay, so just focus back on.
So the answer is yes. I'm sorry. The answer is yes, Judge.
Okay. So let me hear from you on that, Mr. Brennan.
Sure. Your Honor, under the government's interpretation of this statute, Your Honor, the government is seeking to first.
No, I'm sorry. What I said was, I'll hear you, Mr. Brennan. And you
I'm sorry.
But that's okay. I don't want to hear about the witness intimidation statute, other than if I don't sequester your client, I would be inclined to do just like I did before. The witnesses who are the subject of the indictments, Mr. Kearney will have to be outside the courtroom when they testify.
We anticipated that, Your Honor, and I won't say that we would agree to that, but I understand the court's position there, and I can see that would be a resolution the court might land on.
Okay. Now I'm going to let Mr. Brennan speak, and then I'll hear you again, Mr. Bradle.
Thank you.
He's taking the fifth. How do you feel about that?
Your Honor, you have questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
What if he takes the fifth?
If he asserts his Fifth Amendment privilege, I think there is no realistic likelihood that we would call him. There's obviously procedures the Commonwealth could follow, but I have no belief that will happen. So I expect if he actually asserts his Fifth Amendment privilege, I would no longer have a good faith basis to say that there would be a need for sequestration. I would ask the court to impose the prior limitations with named victims and also minor witnesses.
Okay.
But I would, as a predicate, he would need to assert his fifth.
Do you need that to be done formally, or do
Yes.
you want it to be done formally?
I do.
Mr. Bradle, do you want to do that now?
Judge, I'm happy to assert that on his behalf.
We'd reject that invitation. If he wants to assert the Fifth Amendment privilege, he can assert it.
Oh my
Okay. Do
God.
you want to call him now and do that now, Mr. Bradle, or not? Do you want to talk with your client? And
Assert it.
7 minutes.
sure.
Oh shit.
Why don't you know what? I'll give you more than a minute, Mr. Bradle. Can the staff work through lunch for a little bit?
Yes.
Everybody stay. All right. Mr. Bradle, why don't I give you 10 minutes to talk to him? We'll see you back here in 10 minutes.
All rise for the court, please.
There it is. That's the fireworks I'm looking for. Hanky wants fucking Turtle Boy on that stand, and he wants him to have to say, I am asserting my Fifth Amendment right. You such a talker. You such a talker. I think they're going to have to talk about this, because if he asserts his Fifth Amendment rights, and he has to do that now. I think that Bradel should say no. When you want to call him. We're going to assert it then, because I want to know if that could that affect him talking about the case? Because if you assert your Fifth Amendment, but then after you assert your Fifth Amendment, if you talk about it, can they then use that? Dude, I'm telling you, this is what I got to look into it. Let me take a looky. Oh, Lynn, is it Leanne? Leanne, I think I got your bingo card. Did you get bingo, Dow? Yeah. I like your numbers here. Hey, Bella, can you check this? I'll send it to you. Well, she probably saw it in chat. We're just checking to make sure everything is good.
Yeah, where is it?
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know what this one is, but yeah, we're working it out. Lana, I do it for the bell. I do it for the bitch. Can I have another one of those waters? One of those waters.
Maybe.
And like 50 fireballs. This is gonna get interesting.
Who am I looking for?
Oh, here the number is 6. Here, I'll just send it to you. I think. Well, I have a couple different ones, but. 69E6D9, but I'll send it. Look at the bottom unless those letters are part of the number. Yeah. Look at the bottom left. Yeah, that's. Check that one. Check Lisa, not me. Not you. Okay, where's Lisa? Sorry, Lisa. Did you put yours in? Sorry, I was over here. Oh, you got the bingo? I just got bingo on Bevs on Bevs. Yes, Bevs on Bevs. So we're just making sure that all this stuff's working today. That's what we're doing.
E03F30.
I just sent you one. Oh, but that's not the one I wanted you to try. I guess that's not. Lisa put hers in. It's in chat. I highlighted it.
You did?
Yeah, I took, and then so there's the right there.
Got it.
You got it. Okay, cool. Lisa, we're checking. We're just making sure that all of our stuff's working fabulous over here. You guys, this is really interesting. If he asserts his fifth now, if I'm him, I don't want to assert my fifth yet. I want to assert my fifth during the trial. I also want to ask Bev, like, I'm telling you that I'm going to assert it. If she makes me assert it, and then we have questions about that.
Is it this one? It's the new pigtail one.
Is it the new pigtail one? Did you get your bingo on the new pigtail one?
Because if it's not the pigtail one.
Because that's what we're doing. You have to have Bev in the middle with piggies. We got some guy weed whacking now. I think this is a big. There's a reason that Hank wants him to do it now. Well, I want to show a fucking. This is how I would argue if I was Bradel. First of all, Your Honor, we want to show an offer of proof that he plans on calling him. Okay, and this is just not a way to keep my client, sequestered. So, So the first thing how you want to switch this back is Bradel needs to say, well, first, Your Honor, we are asking for an offer of proof. One has not, he wants to talk about it depends on how this case develops. That's not good enough. Okay. So without an offer of proof that he plans to call my client, I've instructed my client to plead the fifth, but he does not need to plead the fifth right now. Some guidance, anyone, bingo rules. Right now, you're going to go ahead and clear your bingo cards. Clear your bingo cards. And it's going to be the first one when we come back from the break here to get.
Yeah, it's the old one. So that's her old one. It's right there. Let me see it.
Okay.
Here.
So she got it. She got the bottom row.
She got a lot.
She got Miss Little submitted Friday case, Jim. She said the word Jim today. Oh, I think she was playing on the wrong with the It's fine. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure the cards are working, and they're working. It's a strategy right here. Jim, I know what you're doing over there. Let's see. Fifth Amendment, if asserted before trial. Okay. Whew. Now, voluntary statements. So the Fifth Amendment does not stop you from voluntarily making statements to anyone, including reporters, even if those statements could potentially be used against you later. The Fifth Amendment's protection is primarily designed to prevent coercion in court. Yes, a journalist can still speak about a case even if they assert their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination during pretrial proceedings. So then he would be okay?
Because that's only about a case.
Well,
during a case, during a hearing. Yeah.
While you can't talk to reporters, be aware that your comments could be used against you later in the trial or by other parties in a civil case. It's always wise to consult with an attorney, before making any public statements, especially about sensitive legal matters.
You should.
Okay, see, listen to this. I'm telling you right now, not a shield for all communication. While the Fifth Amendment protects against compelled self-incrimination, it doesn't create a blanket right to silence in all situations. If a journalist chooses to speak, they can't then claim the Fifth Amendment to protect those statements. So,
Listen, we're gonna see. He wants it.
I think that Hank Brennan has to show an offer of proof here, okay? Hank Brennan has to provide an offer of proof that you are calling my fucking client, okay? It is not good enough to say on how this fucking case goes. It's your case in chief. You know if you're calling him or not. It wouldn't be how this case goes. You already know what all of your witnesses are going to be testifying to. How could there be some surprise? Okay. If he's going to say, well, we would call him if Karen Reed plans to testify.
Listen, he's having him do. I have to take you out of my ear. He's doing this because after he takes his fifth, he cannot then go run his mouth about certain things.
That's what I'm saying that he's doing it for.
Okay, but it's not a blanket. It's not a blanket that he's not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, no, blanket. That's what I'm trying to say. He's
against.
Yeah, I'm saying that he will have to be very careful if he asserts his fifth right now.
Yes.
He's going to have to be very careful on how he covers this case.
Yes. But he's
because
being
he will
forced.
not have. That's like if that was like if Dr. Moore, did his fifth, but you're going and talking to other people behind, and those who came forward, and like you don't have that. But this isn't for him. It's interesting. I don't know. It's a different dynamic. It's a different dynamic because he at one point, both of them were coughed up in a grand jury that got shut down for witness intimidating.
What's interesting is this is the First and Fifth Amendment, and
which one's gonna fucking take precedent?
And so that's why it's interesting for all the constitutionalists out there that love constitutional law like us. This is a very interesting argument. But obviously, I have faith in Bradel, and I think that Turtle Boy is being forced. This is the best way for him.
He needs to cover the case. This is his livelihood, you guys. Like basically Hank trying to do this to him. Like, you want to talk about a fucking dick move?
Oh, yeah.
This is so dick. This is absolutely. Well, where's Gretchen Voss? Gretchen Voss, is she going to cover the case because she's on the witness list? Okay, but also the thing that's different with Gretchen Voss is she's also not. She doesn't have a pending criminal cases again. You know what I mean? Like,
and Gretchen can cover other cases. This is his Turtle Boy's bread and butter.
Yeah, he's independent. She's not independent.
Yes.
Woo. I personally think that the way this could, if I was Bev, I wouldn't want any part of making a decision like this. And I would offer Hank, you have to make a showing of proof. I think who really wanted the recess was her. I think Bev wanted to go back and look at something.
Yeah.
That's why she said, I'm going to make it seem like she was giving them more time. She needed the time. She wants to look at something. And I think she needs to.
She needs to look at.
Yeah, I think there's something that she needs to consider here. Because this would be precedent right here. She would be creating a very, very interesting. Woo.
This is a very interesting thing to look at for constitutional lovers.
But if I'm Turtle Boy, I assert my fifth as well.
You do that, but it kind of.
But I wouldn't want to assert it until I had to. I would want to be called to the stand. Do you understand? The defense should be arguing too here, guys. You know how bad it will look if the Commonwealth if they call their own witness and the Commonwealth's witness is pleading the fifth. That's a Commonwealth witness. For the jury to see that, the jury wouldn't see this. So I am 100% on. How can they even tell him that he can't cover the case?
Because the Commonwealth is asserting
they're doing this sequestration of the witnesses. I understand, but I'm here to argue and say that that's an undue hardship that you cannot put on him.
They're saying too bad. Okay, look, the Commonwealth is saying too bad, so sad because you quote inserted yourself in this case and you made yourself a witness where you didn't need to be.
I didn't make myself but see, that's the argument. I didn't make myself a witness.
Yes.
I would be arguing that the Commonwealth is using their subpoena power to fucking. What if he was to sue fucking Brennan?
Who?
Turtle Boy. It's a civil suit because you're
for loss
of wages.
But you would have to wait.
This could get so interesting if you think about it.
Yes, and you would have to wait, and it would be a really.
You know how much money he could show that he lost because he could show how much money he made per day last year during the trial.
Yeah.
And then you times all that.
Yeah. But the only problem is to sue attorneys is a very high burden. It's not that easy.
I think he would be suing the Commonwealth.
It's still a very, very high burden, but yes.
Well, it wouldn't be prosecutorial misconduct. It would be. This is misconduct, though. He could actually do a legal complaint. He could go to the bar. I don't know. I think there would be different things you could do.
Like with everything, it has to be intentional.
This is intentional.
Well, we know this. It's something to know something and something to.
That's why you need to ask for the offer of proof, and he has to speak on it. Because then if it's bullshit, that's how you're going to get your proof.
Proving it is the hard part. You can know something all day long.
You have to prove this is intentional on Brennan's part.
Mhm.
And while we all agree, you have to prove it in a court of law.
Well, I think that's why you have to have him speak on it.
But this is going to be really interesting, you guys.
Bradel needs to not move on it. Bradel needs to say that, Your Honor, after conferring with my client, first of all, we need an offer of proof. Dude, Bradel's been there for, God, he's been there since 10 o'clock in the morning. Yuri's math teacher says this seems above Bev's pay grade.
That's why she's taking a recess.
Yeah, I wouldn't want any part of this.
She wants to hit that thing in her drawer in chambers.
I wouldn't want any part of making this decision. I think the easiest decision, though, to make to protect people is to let Turtle Boy cover the case, regardless if he's going to assert his Fifth Amendment. Maybe you can do an offer of proof if the case starts going a certain way, Mr. Brennan, where you think that you're then going to need Turtle Boy, that we could then address this, where he could then be sequestered at that point, beginning then, based on the way that your case is unfolding. But I think the only way that they would ever use Turtle Boy is if Karen Reed took the stand. But I don't want to plead the Fifth, though, until I would be called. That's where I would say, why do I have to plead the Fifth right now? Maybe I want to see how the case unfolds.
Why do we have to hear this motion right now?
I just suing an attorney for ineffective. No, you're not suing him for ineffective assistance of counsel. Who? No, you could sue the Commonwealth for abuse of power. You could sue them for a bunch of shit, but I think the biggest thing would be, abuse of power.
Getting in the way of your money.
Yeah,
Causing undue hardship.
He has a contractual relationship with, guess what? All of the people that are members of his channel are members of his channel for the Karen Reed case. Okay.
Sure.
So he has a duty and a contractual relationship with them.
Except,
and the Commonwealth is getting in between that contractual relationship.
Except that you're splitting hairs, because he no longer is monetized by YouTube, so that membership.
No, but he has different ones.
Right. So what is it called?
He has stuff with Rump. Well, no, Turtle Chow. Whatever you guys. How do you guys all pay Turtle Boy?
You are unmuted.
Oh, fuck with that. No, well, if he's agreed, that's why I'm paying you, because you're doing that.
Hi, Mr. Brennan, do you agree that Mr. Kearney has a Fifth Amendment right?
I think he has a Fifth Amendment privilege. I don't know that he has a Fifth Amendment privilege to all questions we would ask, but the content that we would go into, I think he clearly would have a Fifth Amendment privilege.
All right, so you're not asking for a Lumen Martin hearing?
I'm not. I think I necessarily would have to delve into issues regarding his open indictments against a number of different victims.
Okay.
And I think there's other information that I can't discuss for other reasons because of court orders.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I would suggest that the court could take judicial notice of the 16 indictments against him.
So the Commonwealth concedes, and I believe there's a valid Fifth Amendment right. So
I ask you just allow me to make the representation on behalf of Mr. Carney that he would, in fact, invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege. Commonwealth agrees to it. I ask that you just allow me to make the representation and leave it there.
Oh, sure. Is there any objection for everybody hearing this?
There is. I would like Mr. Kearney to consider his Fifth.
I thought you wanted a basis. No, I'm going to see Mr. Kearney here at sidebar with just you, Mr. Bradel. And all recording devices are off.
Thank you.
FTR goes to sealed, Tori.
This is huge. He wants, listen, you guys, listen, this is so important. We just said this. He wants it to happen now, and the defense needs to say no to this. You want it to happen during court. Why do you guys think the Commonwealth wants to do this now? because it would look bad if they called him to the stand, right? Also, I personally think it puts him. No, Bradel did it. Bradel did it awesome. Bradel said, he said what he said. We're saying what we say, which is, I'm telling you, as an officer of the court, he's going to assert his Fifth Amendment. That does not need to take place now. Procedural due process. What's the procedural ruling on that? What's procedure? I love this shit. This is fucking great. This is good shit. This is like
Tori, Jim.
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Brennan, I've just had a colloquy with Mr. Carney, with his lawyer present, obviously. I find, and the Commonwealth concedes, that he does have a valid Fifth Amendment right. I find that there's a valid basis for him to invoke that Fifth Amendment privilege, and I find that if he were called to testify, he would in fact invoke that Fifth Amendment privilege. So based on that, he will be exempt from the sequestration order, except as to, and I need a list of the named witnesses who are the alleged victims in the current indictments.
Awesome.
I accept those findings. We'll provide the court with a list of the named victims. We also would like to have the court consider the 2 minors in that list.
Oh, yes, I think I did that last time as well.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, so is that it for today?
Judge, if I may, just for the record, maintain the same objection I had at the last trial. Don't need to make any further commentary
sure.
on it, just in case there's any further action, which I don't anticipate right now.
Okay.
But just for the record, thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're all set until Tuesday, I believe. I'll get
Thank you.
orders out. Oh, stipulations were just given to me. I have not had a chance to read them.
Yep. So Turtle Boy is free to talk.
Do you? All right, this looks like
it right now.
you all made some progress.
You made the right
In a
choice.
way that where the jury will be happy that you've cut down the amount of time that they may be here otherwise. Okay. Anything else today?
The only thing I would ask the court to consider is with regard to the speaker, the reader issue.
Oh, okay.
If the Commonwealth intends to go forward with that, I would ask that that be put in a formal motion so we have something to respond to. I think research on that is in order.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Doesn't have to be lengthy
And it is something that we've done.
right. Understood. I would like to see I'm going to have to look at what the law in Massachusetts is concerning that and what the sort of parameters are.
Okay.
I just think because of the potential prejudicial effect on Ms. Reed, I'd like to have something in writing. That's all.
It is in the extrajudicial motion. If there's something separate the court wants briefed, we're happy to do it, but it's already in the motion that we provided regarding extrajudicial statements.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you Tuesday.
Thank you.
All right, so the court, please.
Oh, motherfucking rise, bitches! That Last Supper, baby. How do you guys feel about your Last Supper? I love it. Your front row seat to justice. Thank you for watching Queen with us. Thank you, Court TV, for always just giving it to us. So everything's good now. That's how it should be. Turtle Boy should basically Hank lost. That's all that matters. Okay, awesome. So any glitches that we need to take care of with the bevs, bingos, hoes? I don't think so, right? We're good. Great. All right. Well, I want to say thank you guys for watching here. And opening statements Tuesday. Everybody have a great I'll be live later on this evening. Part 3 with my Idaho breakdown. Yeah. Okay. All you Karen Reed trial watchers that are here just for my Karen Reed coverage, have a great, happy Easter. And cheers. The Lord is going to be rising there on Sunday. So cheers. Peace out. Again, thank you.